Well, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Got a great broadcast lineup for you this morning. Trying to get myself centered there. Got a great broadcast lineup for you this morning. Now we're going to kick it off as we always do. We're going to let everybody introduce themselves. My name is Raheen Aljamain, and we got a great topic. So I want you to make sure that you share the broadcast, and share the broadcast because this is something that I think everybody want to hear. Now, young lady, what's your name and tell everybody where you're hailing from?
Good morning, everyone. This is Anna, and I'm calling you. Well, I'm on air remotely from my home here in Georgia.
Good deal, good deal. Pastor L.
Hey, praise the Lord, folks. This is Pastor L. I hail from Washington, D.C., but currently residing in the wonderful little city of Cumming, Georgia. Good morning to everyone in the listening audience.
Basically, what he's saying is he in the country. Basically, what he's saying is he is in the country. We're gonna start off the broadcast. I'm gonna do it a little different this morning. I'm actually going to play. I'm going to play a poem, and this is a poem that I had the pleasure of writing years ago. As a matter of fact, I played it so long ago. I was still living in Columbia, South Carolina, and you know how long ago that was. It's been quite a while.
That's been a while, bro.
Yeah, it's been a while. And I'm gonna tell you the story behind the poem. I was at work. I was working for the state of South Carolina at that time, and a friend of mine, she came to me, and she said her boyfriend, they were not married. They had a child together. He had left. He got up and he just left, and he didn't come back. And she said he did this before years ago, but they reconciled, came back together, but he left again. And now she have to deal with a situation. And this is the situation that she had to deal with. Y'all listen to this, and this is gonna be our conversation today. Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Could y'all hear it?
No,
Y'all couldn't hear it at all?
no.
Okay. I might need to take the mic off so y'all be able to hear it. But our topic today is Mama, where's Daddy? Is our topic today. Mama, where's Daddy? And so what I'm going to do, I'm gonna get the poem and I'm gonna just read it. And so y'all have a conversation. I just gotta walk right across the room here, pick it up, and I'm gonna read it. So y'all talk amongst yourself just for a second.
Gotcha.
All right. Miss Anna, what's going on?
So, how do you feel about that?
My first initial thought, man, there's so many caveats to this conversation. Having having two boys, and they grew up one grew up with me, other grew up with his mom, and the youngest one that grew up with me, he's with his mom now, in South Carolina, as a matter of fact, and he's learning. Life is different for him there than it was here. I've taken him from pre-K all the way to sixth grade. I'm really big on education. So Daddy was there, and so now it's kind of like a reversal of roles. But the other situation is kind of weird. My oldest boy I had when I was stationed in Savannah, Georgia, I had a boy in 1999. He just turned 21 on March 31st, as a matter of fact. And we had him together for a while. We got divorced. And as things would have it, I got really tight on money one year. He was around 5, and her parents were at the time, a pretty well-to-do family. and I didn't want him to struggle with me financially. So I had her come get him, and she took him back to Washington State, but she totally dropped off the map. Like, I had to find her. I didn't find my son until he was 17. For 12 years, I looked for my boy. His grandparents would not respond to me. She would not respond to me. She would not call me. Changed the number a few times. When I got a number, she changed. She doesn't do social media. And so it was very hard on me as a father. You know, that's why I say so many caveats to this conversation, that some dads were just deadbeat. We just won't be there. I was trying to be there for my son. My whole intention was for my son not to struggle financially. At the time, my faith in God wasn't where it is now, where I could have said, hey, we're going to toughen this out. You know, she was out in the streets living a crazy wild life, but I knew her parents were well-to-do. So I said, you know, he'll be okay. We're better off there than with me struggling, like literally struggling, like almost living out of my car, struggling, you know. So it was a situation I didn't want my son in. And so it really hurt. And I still cry about it from time to time, because I will never get those years back. And the reason why, and the bad part about it was, for me, the reason why it was a marriage, that marriage didn't work. She cheated on me. I was in the Army. Every time I got deployed, there was another man deployed to my house. And so, I mean, literally that many times, it was bad. When I would go to get promoted, I would go to promotion school. For a while, she was in the Army too. We were in the same military community. She had gotten out after she had the baby. And as a matter of fact, the child came because I wanted to have kids. She wanted to just get out of the Army under the chapter. You get out of the Army when you have a child. So she wanted to get out of the Army and have a kid. I wanted to start a family and have a kid. And she took my boy away from me. So it really sucks. And to this day, our communication between my son and I, we talk now, but it's not nowhere near, you know. God bless my son. I love my baby boy, Gabriel, but he's smoking cigarettes, tattoos all over his face, his body, things that just I would not have allowed to go, you know. So when you say, where's daddy? There are some mothers out there, and I've come to peace with my son's mom. So I'm not saying it's about her per se. I used to say all kinds of things about her, but there's some mamas, and I'm gonna say they're just trifling. They're trifling. They will use that child to attack that father and hold that father, the ones that care, in an emotional prison that they cannot escape, because they're disgruntled, they're unhappy with how things went, or it didn't go the way they wanted to, or they just want to cause some type of pain and suffering on that man. So in a lot of cases, now I won't quantify. In some cases, I won't say a lot. In some cases, you know, it's not the father that disappeared, it's the mother. You know, a lot of times you say, well, it's the mom. You know, the dad's the one that's being toxic. The dad's being the one that's toxic. No, it's the mom that's the one that's toxic. You know, but society is set up in such a way where the woman instantly gets recognition as being the one that's going to be responsible for the child. That marriage also was abusive for me. You know, spit on. I got hit bottles and try to stab me with a knife. And when I would go to the police department, and after when we were separated, I realized we weren't gonna get back together. I go to the police department. The police would laugh at me. They would laugh at me when I told them that I was being attacked by a woman. They would laugh at me when I told them I was being abused by a woman. They thought it was funny. And so, you know, this society is not set up for a man to get any kind of favor for his children in very tough situations like that. Now, things are changing. I've seen lately, even recently in court, some men are getting custody of their kids. Some men are winning those court cases when the woman is attacking. Because there's been some women that have actually killed men, you know, out of violence and anger, not out of protecting themselves, but they've just had issues. They've gone to jail. You know, they didn't get out in self-defense. And so I think times are changing, but the reality is, when you say, mommy, where's daddy? Where I started, there's so many caveats here in this conversation that we have to talk about, or that we will try to talk about. I don't think we can't even scratch the surface of this thing, because the reality is we have to look at the heart of the people involved. And so I know Raheem has these pot stirring questions he throws out here all the time. But you know, in essence, some of these are so subjective, you know, and so we can only talk about what we talk about today. So hopefully anybody listening to the audience, if we don't touch on the caveat that you wanted to be talked about, it's not intentionally. It's just that there's just so many caveats for us to cover.
Absolutely, absolutely. I want to make sure we got a couple of callers on the phone line. I want to touch the phone callers as well. Callers, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
My name name is Bethsaida. Calling from Massachusetts.
Oh, okay. Say your name one more time, and thank you for calling. We definitely appreciate you.
Bethsaida.
Betsy,
that.
that's my best friend. Betsy.
Okay. Good deal. Good deal. Thank you for calling this morning, young lady. We definitely appreciate you. We have another caller too. What's your name, caller? Where you calling from?
Frank calling from Michigan.
Good deal. Good deal. Good to have you, Frank. Good to have you. What we're talking about, we're gonna come back to your callers in just 1 second. I'm going to attempt to play this poem again before I actually have to read it. But our topic today is Mama, Where's Daddy? Mama, Where's Daddy? And so there's so many layers on this thing, man. So let me try to play this poem one more time, and hopefully it plays well. Let me see, get my prefaces, and let me change my prefaces on here. Anna, while I do this, Anna, what's on your heart? This is a topic that there's a lot of landmines there.
Yes.
What's on your heart?
So he's absolutely right. Pastor's absolutely right, because there are some vengeful, mean, for whatever reason, just want to, do evil things to their exes. I do get that. However, I will say, when women get that upset, something has triggered that. There may be some. My best friend can tell you, we don't want to go too much into privacy, but she can agree to the fact that we all helped one of her brothers get custody of his child, I would say before the child was a year old. I think men are a little bit slower at taking those steps. Women don't play. Women, that's the nurturing that goes up, that trigger that goes up. We're like, no, I'm going to make sure that I go with all this proof to show that to the courts that this child needs to be with me and why this child needs to be with me. I will say, I have, I wasn't always the best Christian, and I made some mistakes in life. And my oldest daughter's father, and I have spoken of him, he is total deadbeat. And I triggered a question on air, is it okay for a man to put everything in his current spouse's name to evade paying child support? Is that okay? No, it's not okay. You're doing it because you're running from your responsibility, who was there before your current relationship. And you can't just turn around and just act like the responsibility is not there. It never happened. These kids, like I say, they were there, or the child was there before your current relationship. So why do you do that? Because you want to run from responsibility. On the other hand, you have children, you have mothers that are very vengeful, and a lot of them, I will say, and I'm not sticking up for every woman, because there's some, like I said, my best friend, if she desires to talk about that, where we had to help her brother take custody, physical and full custody of a child, because she was not all there mentally. He had to go to the courts, show proof, and, kind of trick her into signing, the paperwork that she needed to sign. But she knew she couldn't take care of that child, if that makes sense. And most women, I think, they know deep down inside. Now, if men are, not quick enough, you have some guys that they owe all this child support and stuff, which is another layer to it. If you don't keep your receipts, guess what? You're going to still be paying back retroactive child support because you didn't keep those receipts. Are guys getting smarter and realizing, man, this can happen to me, and they can accuse me of not paying this child support, my ex or whatever, when I've been doing for my child, so there, like I said, there's many layers to it, but I got, like I said, an ex that was a total deadbeat. I had to be behind them. Like the other day, we were talking about, are you a snitch? That was our topic. Yeah, I was behind them, giving any information I could to child support, because you don't just make a child and walk away from that child. And I think any woman would feel a type of scorn or feel some type of way that how do you abandon this child and who both of us made this child. It's not just one of us responsibility, it's both of us.
Okay. I'm gonna say something, and Anna, you know my heart, you know you're my sister, and you know I love you, and you know I love you. But all for what you just said, and it's not geared towards you. Let's clarify that. It's certainly not geared towards you, but what came to me is when you're dealing with young kids, when you're dealing with children, you know, is really not a game. You know, we're talking about these children's lives. We're talking about their livelihoods, and the thing that two people come together and they make a child. The only objective they should have, honestly speaking to me, is that child. Rather I get along with you, you get along with me. I don't like you, you can't stand me, you hate me. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The thing that I think should be the most important is that child, and making sure that child has what they need, irregardless. And I know irregardless is not a word. My wife will get on me later, but regardless of how you feel, it doesn't matter. You're talking about these children.
That's right.
You're talking about these children's lives, and that's what should matter.
Exactly. And see, that's where I agree with you. But in some women's situations, the father just disappears. What do you do when you're just holding this child? You're in tears. I'm by myself. How do I find my way through this? You know, that's not every time the woman's fault. And I'm not saying that what both men have said is not true. I see valid points. However, when you are held with this responsibility, you can't. And I always tell people this, and you guys have heard me say it more than once on air. I can't be a father. I don't know how to feel that, especially for a girl. Girls love their dad. That is their first love. I can speak for my dad. He's everything to me. There's no way I can fill those shoes. So when you just, especially for a man, to just leave their daughter, you've already traumatized that child for life because you were being selfish and whatever you wanted to hide or whatever was new in that life or whatever new life you wanted to start. How is that your child's mother's fault that you just left? And I'm not going to say them because you have no responsibility to your child's mother, but you do have a responsibility to that child.
Can I say something? As a man, and I hear you. And this is why I started. This is a very subjective conversation. We got to be very careful, especially for our listening audience. We don't group all men in one group and all women in one group. You know, some fathers leave because they didn't. They might be 6 feet under or locked up in jail. There are some crazy men out there, but trust you me, believe, because I'm sure you may have had some friends like this, and maybe still do. There's some crazy women out there too. And unfortunately, these kids get caught in the crossfire. These kids get caught in the crossfire. As a youth pastor, I've seen it so many times. As a former youth pastor, 10 years as youth and children's pastor, I've seen it hundreds of times. I've gone to courthouses and sat there and sat through the testimonies and hear what's going on. Bipolar man, alcoholic woman, all kinds of stuff going on. Okay, but the kids are caught in the crossfire. And so, and this is why I say it's very subjective. Before we say fathers leave and it's wrong, a father might have been fleeing for his life. Mothers leave and it was wrong to abandon her child. That mother may have been fleeing for her life. There are women who get abused and have no other choice but to get out and just to save their life, to leave their child with hopes to come back later and get their child. It's going both ways now. So just when we're talking, I think we just got to be careful. We don't say fathers. Some men, some women do these things.
And see the main, and I want to go to Sherry as well, but and I certainly want to go to my callers on the line because I want to hear their heart too. And I'm gonna try to play this poem again before I read it. But my thing is, I want to make sure, and let's be mindful that we're not here with this topic right here. It's certainly with this topic here, playing the blame game, pointing the fingers one way or another. That's not gonna benefit anything either. That's not, the main thing that to me, the main thing is that child. Making sure that child has what that child needs. Sherry, what's on your heart?
Just to piggyback off of what Pastor Elgin said, that's basically where I was at with my life. I stayed in the situation for far too long, and I kept praying that, okay, God changed his heart. I'm giving him one more year. I'm gonna give him another year. I'm gonna give it another year. I looked up 5 years later, and it's like I was like standing in the same position.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to do something. So when I left the first time, I was dealing with a lot of stuff. I was in a shelter in Clayton County. It was rough. My kids were staying up late. They were crying. They were doing some craziness. It was really affecting them. I had to call my mom crying, please talk to the kids. They were not going to sleep. It was 11, 12 o'clock at night. They had to get up by 5 so I can get them to school on time. Because I was an hour away from their bus stop and everything. I dealt with that for a month, and I was like, you want to know what? Let me just try to go back home. They're missing their dad. Then afterwards, I went back, and I realized I can't go back, and I have to leave and can't come back. I was in and out the court system because he kept calling me and calling me and calling me. I had to get a restraining order against him. I had to get a TPO against him. It was crazy. I was going back and forth to court like literally like twice a month. He was just harassing me. He was like trying to find me. When I would leave the court, they let me out the courthouse first. I would literally run out the back door, go down the steps, out the back way, and I was running to the parking lot. That scene from the What's Love Got to Do with It, when Angela Bassett just couldn't take it anymore and she took off running, almost got hit by our cars. I was running the parking lot in the courthouse trying to make sure he didn't have anybody following me. It got to be that serious. And then he called. He had scheduled appointments to talk to the kids every day between 6 and 7. One day, my mom was here. He didn't know they were there. He was on speakerphone. He was like, ask your mommy if I could put an extra $100 in her account. Can I see you guys this weekend? So he was playing the card saying that I was keeping my kids from my husband. I was not keeping my kids from my husband. My husband did not want to see his kids. I had scheduled drop off and pick up. I did not want to come to the house because it was a lot of stuff going on and I didn't want to deal with him. So he had to go pick them up and drop them off. It was supervised pick up and drop off. I still have the paperwork for that. He lied and told everybody I had supervised visit. He was only able to see them for a day. For an hour on Sundays. That was a lie. He had all day Sunday. He picked them up and he had to drop them off. He didn't want to do that because he was stone cold alcoholic. And that was it was the football season. So he wanted to stay at home all day and drink beer and watch football. He wanted me to be at his beck and call. He wanted me to be his puppet. And I said no. And then unfortunately, in the midst of me being away from him, living in another shelter, moving into transitional housing, he passed away. And then I remember one of my Facebook friends, and I was telling him my story because he was a writer. He was like, he had the audacity to come out his mouth, and I can't really blame him because of the world we live in, people who are abusive. He asked me, did I take his life? I said no. I'm like, are you serious? When that went down, and when I got the phone call, I was living in Clarkston, and my house is in Ellenwood. I left at that house, and the reason why I left my house is because his job is literally 3 minutes from this house. And I knew that if I was staying in the house, because the court system was going to give me the house, I knew he would be at the house watching my every move every time he got off of work. I knew how he was. He was petty and very vindictive. Very vindictive. I chose to leave. But then nobody see that. Don't nobody see that. They want to blame the victim. I left with only the clothes on my back the second time around. I had to sneak back in the house to go get clothes when he was at work. I was terrified. I parked my car on the street, so if I did hear him coming, I could take off running and get my car and drive off, and he couldn't block me in the driveway. It was a method to my madness, but nobody saw what I was doing because at the end of the day, when I got divorced, I was going to get the house anyway. So they didn't see that. So lo and behold, last time I got into the house, I dumped all the clothes out that he had in the basket and I threw them on the floor, which was petty. And then I took the baskets because I needed the baskets, the laundry basket. And then he changed the locks on the house, so I couldn't get back in the house. So then, me being who I am, because I'm from Detroit, God, I had to repent for this. I could only get in the garage. So our deep freezer was in the garage. I stole all the food that was in the freezer. And I had one of my peoples keep it for me because I'm like, how you gonna do this? You know I don't have anything. But it was just like everything that kept happening. And he kept doing stuff and he kept lying. He kept lying to my kids and everybody kept telling me, don't say nothing. Don't talk about him bad. It was like, why is Daddy saying that? I said, Daddy's being mean and I don't know why. He talked about me like a dog.
Let me do this. I want to try to, and Sherry, you hold on. Don't you go nowhere. I definitely want to, I want to try and play this poem one more time. I'm going to try to play this poem. And then we're going to go to our callers because I know they got so much on their heart. And I want to go to them as well. So let me try. And if for whatever reason y'all can't hear this poem, let me know. You shake your head, yes, whether you can hear it, and no, I can't hear it. That way I can stop it and then got to continue to. And it's not very long. But y'all listen to this. This is a poem. I prefaced it earlier. I wrote this poem when I lived back in Columbia, South Carolina. A friend of mine was having an issue, and her I don't like using that term, baby daddy, but the father of her children left, and he was gone for a while. He came back. They tried to reconcile, and he left again. And this is what she had to deal with. Y'all listen to this, and let me turn it up a little bit. Anna, let me know if you can hear it, okay?
Mama, where's Daddy? Why is he never home? Why when I wake up in the morning, why is he always gone? I had a play at school last week. I looked out and he wasn't there. Please tell me the truth, Mama. Does Daddy still care? He told me I was his baby and that I should always believe that he will always be here for me. So, Mama, tell me, why did he leave? I know you two used to argue. I remember you used to fight. But in my prayers to God, I asked him to make things right. I believe that he will do it and bring Daddy back home. Don't worry about it, Mommy. We won't always have to be alone. Daddy promised for Christmas that he will give me something I like. Do you think for real, Mama, that he show up with that bike? Or will he buy it for that other child, in the house where he stays? How can he say he loved me and never come around? Grown up have some silly ways. Will you ever leave me too, Mommy? Will we ever be apart? Please don't leave me, Mommy. You are my only heart.
Anna,
That was beautiful.
Anna,
That was very emotional.
Anna, you got me about to tear up over here, man. You got to stop that.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. Let's go to I want to say your name right. Basida.
Call me Betsy.
Bessie. Okay. Bessie, what's on your heart now? Now that poem is that reality?
Yes, for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh, I think I'm gonna jump back and forth here, so try to understand me. I think it all stems from the beginning, how that father treated that child or children. If he was abusive already from the beginning, they're not gonna miss him that much. They'll hardly ever speak his name. How do I put this? Yeah, that's pretty much that part with the poem. Listening to all of y'all's conversation this morning, the first thing I want to start with is women and being mothers. Not all women are the nurturers, like Anna said. And the reason why I know this is because I've seen it firsthand. My brother had to take full custody of his daughter because a lot of times he would wake up in the middle of the night and the mother was gone.
Mm-hmm.
He had to go to work in the morning and she was gone out doing drugs. And then he would have to call either me or my mother to come pick up the daughter or watch, my niece so that he can go to work. Florida was a mother state. So the mother automatically had the rights, which I don't agree with that. Being a woman, I still don't agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
I have a cousin that he had a child with this woman, called DCF and everything, because he knew that his child was not in good hands. He knew that the mother was getting abused by the boyfriend. Called DCF. DCF didn't do anything. Within 2 weeks, my little cousin passed away because the boyfriend literally beat him up to the point where he died a few days later. So I know that not all women are the best. And when it comes to men being gone, the fathers being gone, yeah, it's sad, but sometimes it's a blessing. Especially if you pick the wrong man. I mean, I was young and dumb, and I honestly picked the wrong man. That's another thing. You have to really pick and choose who you're going to have a child with. Because this person you're going to deal with for at least 18 years, if not the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. And when you pick the wrong man, whether they're into drugs or whatever the situation is, bipolar, and I heard somebody mention, you don't want that around your child anyway. And honestly, if it takes for you not to pay your child support, then I'll scrape my pennies so that my child does not see what you do and grow up the way you are. You know, not for nothing, but my children's father, at one point, he was so bipolar and an alcoholic and would do drugs. His morning coffee was a beer. I'm here drinking coffee, he's here opening up a beer. It got to the point so bad that he pulled the gun out on me in front of my kids. That's the main reason why I left Florida. I was not going to deal with him being down the street and would pop up anytime he felt like it. It was never a call, hey, I'm going to come see the kids. Can I see the kids? It was just knock, knock, here I am. And abusive. He was the type that, okay, we broke up. He could move on, be with any woman he wanted, but how dare I move on? How dare I have another man around his kids? And I wasn't going to deal with that. I did not want my children around that. I did not want my children to see. I was not going to let my daughter think that that's the type of man she's going to be with. Nor was I going to let my son think that that's how they treat a woman. If it takes for them to not be around, then sometimes it's worth it. Sometimes it's a blessing. And that's how I see it.
Okay. Okay. Stay right there, sister. We're gonna come back to you. Cassandra, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning. How are you?
Hey, doing well, doing well. Cassandra, our topic today is Mama, Where's Daddy? Mama, Where's Daddy? I played that poem, and we're talking about so much that's going on, and there's so many different layers here, Cassandra. There's a lot of layers, and like Elgin said, we may not be able to touch them all, but let's touch on as much as we can. So what's on your heart right now?
I've never had my father around. He was never there. But one thing I can tell you, it does make a difference, them being there, being involved in I'm saying that if they're destructive, yes, you need to keep your children away from them as much as possible, especially if it's violence. And I've seen it, this is what I do, domestic violence over 30 years. So I've heard and seen just about everything. And I'm talking from men and from women. But men are so essential in the lives of their children. And let me put this out there because, I can almost hear the voices saying, Christian men don't do that. But let me tell you, most of the women that I've dealt with and men over the years in domestic violence, they were Christian men.
Yes.
They were pastors, they were evangelists, they were deacons, they were choir members, and they were whipping their wives' ass. I'm just being straight, I'm sorry. And so I don't want anybody to say if he's a Christian, he's not going to do that. He's a flawed Christian, but he's a Christian. I'm sorry. And I've seen it.
Wow.
But my point is, we need the men in our children's lives. Bottom line, we need that. We need men to step up and be who they need to be.
Cassandra, let me ask you this. Because how does a young lady, say if it is the young lady that have the child, and the dad is not a very good dad, not a good father, not a good spouse, how do you gauge how much of exposure that your child have to that individual, so that the characteristics the bad characteristics that they have don't rub off onto your child?
That's why we have systems in place, and you have supervised visits or whatever. If the person is that destructive that they cannot be trusted to be around their child one-on-one, that's why we have systems in place that they will be there. They supervise visits. That's why they call supervised visits. And I've worked in with DFACS and foster care and children that have been taken away, whatever. That's when you have the supervised visits, and he gets to spend time with his child. But the bottom line is, if there's any semblance of decency in him, he needs to have contact with his child. But like I said, if he's dangerous, then of course we that's a total no-go. But I really, and I heard the young ladies talk about having the father not be with the child and they're better off. Let me tell you, my father was never around me, but throughout my life until he died last year about this same time, I wanted my dad. I wanted a relationship with him, even though he did not want it. In my heart, the very core of my being, I knew that he was the reason I was on this earth. And I wanted a relationship with him. As an adult, making my own money, never asking for nothing, never asking for anything as a child or an adult, my desire was for my father. So that is always there, whether it is expressed by that child or not. Believe me, I've heard the kids say, they don't say anything a lot of times because they know their moms would get upset. They want to see, but there is a desire within you for your father. I don't care how old you get.
That's good. That's good. Donna, what's on your heart? Good morning, Donna. How you doing, sir?
Doing fine, man. I got a lot on my heart. Lord have mercy.
Donna said, Lord, have mercy. You know he about to go into something else when he say, Lord, have mercy. Go ahead. Go ahead, brother.
When the most difficult thing is, and I see expressions, I see the reactions of this conversation, and it's like a replay. But I heard you say something, the most important people are the children. And we have to be careful of what we say and how we do or how we conduct ourselves. When we react to the memories, because the children are still here. Let me just say this. I got a check in the mail, and I had gone home to take care of my parents, and I said, Dad, I got a refund check from child support. I said, what should I do with it? He said, cash it. Why am I saying that? I mean, there were some things that were said about the type of person I was. Because I didn't feel like at the time it was good for children, for parents to be in the house arguing, fussing, not fighting, because I don't do that one. And so that's that. And I'm talking around it because sometimes when you care for a person, I can't say love because that's a word that we can't define. We had tried that yesterday. Okay, and I'm trying to be brief. But when that person walks away, and you're a woman especially, left with the children, they left with the anger too. And the hurt and the pain. And the worst thing they can do is share that with the child.
That's good.
Because that carries on with the relationship with the father. So
absolutely.
I've recovered from that. Let me tell you what I mean by that. I'm not going to let anybody or nothing separate me from my children. That was there. I traveled 3 hours to go to a game or a recital or something like that. But I was there. One more thing. When my child got grown, one of them at least, and he built up the type of nerve to ask me, Dad, why did you leave? And I had to answer him and talk to him about it. I'm glad he did. But the worst thing I could have done and the mother could ever do is talk about each other with the child. Does that make any sense?
It does. Good deal.
Because I heard it just being said, they need their father. They need their mother.
Mm-hmm.
And if we dog them out, then they believe what you say.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, you know, we can go on and on with this, but there's 2 sides, 3 sides to every story. And then what adds to the story is the hurt and the pain.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. We got quite a few callers on the line. I got everybody sitting here on the television world, and that I know they wait. I'm coming back to you. I'm going to touch on these callers here. As a matter of fact, right now we have our brother that we prayed for yesterday with us, and I think he's doing good. And I'm definitely glad to have him back. Anna, she's jumping up and down right now.
Good morning, Kurt.
Good morning, Kurt. How you doing, sir?
Morning, family. How y'all doing?
Hey, doing good. Hey, doing good, doing good. We asking the question, Mama, where's Daddy? Mama, where's Daddy? Talk to me, Kurt. What does that say to you, man? And to have a child in a position where they have to ask their mother, where's Daddy? Kurt, that's not a good place. That's not a good look. What's on your heart, brother?
Well, I'm going to address it from the male side first.
Hey, somebody turn up something over there. Somebody turn up something over there. We hear a lot of background noise. Mute if you're not talking, mute your phone so we don't have the interference. Go ahead, Curtis.
For every dude that's listening to me right now, that's listening to this broadcast, listen, don't you ever let no woman, no human being, period, woman, state, municipality, police, don't you ever let nobody dictate to you what kind of father you're going to be. Because at the end of the day, you're still going to be a father. So who am I to dictate to you what kind of father you're going to be and when you're going to be a father and when you can't? So I don't really take too kindly when I hear, man, she won't let me, blah, blah, she won't, If you can't do it, then you go down, spend that money. Go down to that state municipality. Look, I'm on the birth certificate. That's my child. And until we can take a DNA test and it proves otherwise, I'm going to be a father. You might not be the perfect boyfriend. You might not be the perfect husband. But at the end of the day, when you get old, them kids is going to be all that you got.
Mm-hmm.
Them kids are going to be charged to take care of you. They're going to be charged to look after you. Because at some point, you're going to get old.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's number one. Number two, for the sisters, honestly, guys can get slicky woo-woo, just like women. Women can get slicky woo-woo. So if you were slicky woo-woo, or if you lay with slicky woo-woo, then you got to expect to get slicky woo-woo. So if that's what you lay with, then understand that there's going to be some things that might not work. I thank God every day that when I had my kids, that I thank God that He put me in a position to have my kids by a consummate woman.
Mm-hmm.
That's only by the grace of God. You know what I mean? And I thank Him every day for that, because see, a lot of people have had that child support issue and that whole problem, you know what I mean, after they like broke up and this, that, and the third. I ain't had that. I had maybe one incident, and once I spoke my mind and put my issues on the table, I had a baby mom's, well, I have a baby mom's, I hate to even call it that, but I have a baby mom's that realized, hold on, let's back up. There's certain things as a man that you just gotta do. My daddy used to tell me sometimes, he used to say, Ben Kenobi, sometimes you're going to swallow a bullet to spit out a tank round.
Mm.
You understand?
And it's never more prevalent than, Raheem, you know, a couple years back, I had to have a major knee surgery. I had to have a total knee replacement.
Yeah.
My oldest boy was on the hook every day. He was calling me so much, I was starting to get worried about him.
Mm-hmm.
But he just called, hey, Daddy, how the surgery went, man? Hey, hey, Daddy, you ain't throw no clots, did you? Hey, Daddy, look, man, I know you want to come down here. Don't do that, man. I don't want you to throw no clots while I'm in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, all I can say about the whole issue is, as adults and as human beings, sometimes we have to check our cardinal nature and put that to the side for the betterment of the children. That's just what we have to do.
Mm-hmm.
And
Exactly.
you find that a lot. I'll close out and with this. You find it a lot when you in therapeutic settings.
Mm-hmm.
Cassandra can probably contest to what I'm about to say. You can have a kid that we would deem or that society will deem off the rails.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Uh-huh. Wrap it up for me, Curtis.
You have an individual sessions with that kid.
Mm-hmm.
Even in your individual sessions, you're thinking, man, this kid a little off the rails. Wait till you get to that family session.
Mm.
When you get to that family session, you'll find out that this kid is off the rails because of the situations and circumstances surrounding his family orientation and what's going on in the family. He's not off the rails because he got a cognitive disability. He's off the rails because of the behaviors that's been presented to him around his family connection, the mother and father.
Good deal.
I'll just leave it there, bro.
All right, good deal.
That's just my mindset.
All right. And we got quite a few other callers that just called in. As a matter of fact, I think we have Frank with us, and we got two other callers. Frank, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Hey, doing good, doing good. Mama, where's daddy? Mama, where's daddy? Frank, what's on your heart, brother? You heard a lot of what we've been saying this morning. What's on your heart?
You know, I listened to Elgin, and I was ready to begin to talk about, you know, the fact that, you know, there's challenges in relationships, and they stem sometimes from the man or from the woman, and I was going to drive that point. But as I continue to listen to some of the things that some of our sisters have been through, it's not fair of me to even consider that, because when you've been through domestic violence and when you've been through a place where you've had to sneak out of buildings just to get to your car safely to try to get to somewhere else, so you would feel like, you know, you're not being threatened or your life is not being threatened. It's a whole nother conversation. You know, and that has nothing to do with what Elgin said. I agree with him wholeheartedly. But from the perspective that these sisters are coming from, you know, that's something that I don't want to mess around and try to make a point about child support or about, you know, defending dads when it has nothing to do with what they went through, which was almost slavery, man. To be in a relationship like that and to be afraid like that, and rightfully afraid, because, you know, a lot of our sisters have perished in bad relationships. And I do know that there's women out here that are doing some things and they've killed some men and they're incarcerated for the same thing. It's wrong both ways. But I just happened to be on the line this morning with some sisters that have gone through some things, man. And I just want to say, I thank God that you guys made it out.
Yes.
Because everybody doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's not everybody's story. Everybody's not here to tell the story. And I do want to say this, and then I want to move. I'll let you go ahead to somebody else. The one thing as adults that have children that we need to remember is, unfortunately, no matter how bad that other parent is, that child still loves You know, there was a lot of people that I had to, you know, I've watched some people that have tried to pit the children against a mother or a father. Those kids don't care. They want both of y'all. They want mama and they want daddy, because what y'all are going through, you guys created.
Yeah.
Y'all brought me into this. And I want the same thing that my class. Now, that does not mean you stay in a bad relationship. That does not mean that you stay in an unsafe situation. But just for clarity, that child wants his father and needs him. Now, how you accomplish that, how you move and flow and make sure that that child and you are safe, that's something that has to be figured out. And you may not even be able to achieve it depending on, you know, how that other person is. But don't ever get it twisted. No matter how bad daddy or mommy is, that child still lost.
Exactly. We have another caller from the 321 area code. 321 area code. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, my name is Mr. Calvin. I'm calling from Palm Bay, Florida.
Okay, say your name one more time. I'm sorry.
Calvin.
Calvin. Hey, Calvin, how you doing, sir?
I'm pretty good. How you doing yourself?
Hey, doing well. Calvin, we're talking about this morning. Mama, where's daddy? Mama, where's daddy? Is that a question that any child should have to say through their voice to speak to their mother? Is that a sentence that any child should have to say?
I believe so, and I'll tell you why. There are a lot of, well, from where I sit personally, I see a lot of fathers that's trying to be fathers. And from where I sit, there's a lot of disrespect coming from the women. They're not letting them be, or they're going against the grain when a man tries to be a man. In every situation, you know, even in my personal, in my own household, you know, I see it where I have to pull the woman to the, go ahead, you got something to say?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, so I see it personally where I'm correcting the child, or I'm giving the child chores to do, and they feel like I should be the one doing the chores, or they just, flying out the handle in a lot of relationships nowadays where the man trying to be the man. He's trying to be in the kid's life.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Calvin?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Yeah, go ahead. That was something else. Go ahead.
Okay, so there's a lot of, nobody's talking about it, but there's a lot of disrespect going on from the woman to the man in the household, and they're running a lot of good men away. And at some point, like somebody else said, a man gonna be a man, and by nature, I'm a provider, I'm a protector, and if I feel like I can't do that, then eventually enough's enough, and that goes from both parties. That's pretty much what I have to say.
Let me ask you this question, Kevin. Does you being a father, and I'm not talking about you personally, I'm just using does you being a father, a dad to that child, does that necessarily mean that you have to live in that household?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So with that being established, even if the mother and the father can't get along or coexist in the same dwelling, that does not negate his responsibility to that child. I said earlier that that what we have to do, we have to keep in mind that regardless of what the situation is, whether you like her or I like you, all that's in the wash. Put that in the laundry, wash it, dry it, get rid of it. But my thing is that the main priority and the main focus should be that child, and making sure that that child is taken care of properly, and making sure that that child has everything that he or she needs. Again, my wife will give me, irregardless of rather I like you, I don't like you. We can't stay in the room 2 minutes together without arguing and fussing. We don't have to stay in the room together. We don't have to be together, but we do have to take care of our child. Go ahead, El.
I agree, but at the end of the day, I mean, it sounds good, but it's not happening that way. So you got a lot of people that are out here and they're trying to see their child, and like you said, we got to get rid of it. it's not just on one party, the father. You know what I'm saying? She has to be willing.
But see what you're doing. But what you're doing right now, Calvin, what you're doing right now, you're thrusting all the blame on the mother. You said it's not all on the father, but you're thrusting right now. What you're doing is you're putting all the blame on the mother. She did this, or she won't let me do that. Hold on. You do what you're supposed to do. And I'm not pro mom, pro dad. I'm not neither one. I just like to look at both sides of the coin, and looking at both sides of the coin right now, the blame is being poured on the mother's lap. And
okay.
Go ahead.
Basically, I feel like that way, and because I've been in this situation myself with my oldest child, where I was trying to go. You know, I had to go through the courtroom, the court system. Do you know how long that process was? To the point where we kind of resolved it on our own. Okay. But the process of it was so long and so expensive for most parents for you know, blue collar workers. Man, it's tough and it's expensive, you know. And so I'm trying to, or you know, most people trying to do or fathers trying to do the right thing, and it's expensive and it's a long process. And I'm not saying the child is not worth it. They're all. I'm just saying it's difficult. And so, but that was pretty much my comment, and I'm gonna let y'all have that.
Okay.
Taking my call.
Hey, Calvin, you got to go to what, brother? You can stay right there. Hold on for a second. We're gonna go to L, and then after that, I think we have Bishop here as well. I definitely want to go to Bishop. L, what's on your heart?
To have that child or his children, it took two people. It took a man and a woman laying down. So it's gonna take two people to raise that child. Let's do that. It takes two. Now, let me say this as my precursor for what I'm about to say next. I grew up in a household where me and my sister and my father was extremely abusive, still told boots, kicking my mom in the back. But she doesn't mind me telling us because she preaches it from the pulpit. Kicking her in the back with steel toe boots until her back is messed up to this day. I woke up and saw bruises. My mama, what happened, and knew she was. The older I got, the more angry I became with my father because how he was treating my mother. She stayed there from her life. Now, no, please don't let me jump on. She should have left. What my mama did, what was good for her to do, what she felt was right for her to do, she stayed in the situation until we all graduated. I graduated first 10 years later. My sister graduated from high school. The month after my sister graduated from high school, my mother had a stroke. I flew back from California. I was in the Army. I flew back. My dad was out the house at the time. He was doing the job. I came in the house. I started packing her bags. I said, "You're leaving now. It's time to go." So don't you all ever get it twisted that I'm not pro-mom. Don't ever get it twisted. I grew up in that and hurt to this day and still have to sometimes deal with that, to the point I tell my mom I will never be that guy. But what the gentleman is doing is giving a voice to what men don't have today, because the society's not set up for men to have that kind of voice to say, "Hey, I'm trying. She's not letting me." We met at the meeting point, and when I got there, what you all didn't see was as she was holding the baby, when I reached for the baby, she was asking for something else that I didn't want to give her. That had nothing to do with the kid. So now she takes the child back and starts making a scene in the parking lot. And now you ask me, where am I at? I'm trying to be there. So no, I'm not. It's two sides of the coin, most definitely. But let's make sure it's a 50-50 coin. And unfortunately, society is still working towards the woman. And I get it. Maternal instinct, maternal love. I would probably side the same way. But most men don't have the voice. To the point of what I want to do eventually is start an advocacy program for men, for fathers who are trying to see their kids. I think the Facebook user put it best. Maybe the show we better call "Where's My Deadbeat Daddy?" Because there's some daddies out there who aren't deadbeats, who are trying to be daddies, but you got some mamas who are toxic who won't let them be there.
But see, again, Elgin, and I'm going to go to Bishop. But again, Elgin, there is a lot of guys out there. I know a lot of guys. I know a lot of single fathers that's raising their kids and doing a great and amazing job. So I'm not here, like I said, I'm not pro mom, pro dad. I'm neither or. I like to walk down the middle of that aisle and see what's really going on and deal with it accordingly. There's a lot of guys, Elgin, that has came along, did what they want to do with these young ladies, produced a child, and they're ghost. They're ghost. And so I understand what you're saying, and you're making a very valid point, and I definitely appreciate it. But dealing with both sides of the coin, there are some of the guys that are not trying to do anything, that don't really care, that, okay, that's your situation, that's your problem, deal with it. I gotta go.
Those deadbeats. Bishop, those aren't fathers. Those are deadbeats. We're not talking about fathers now. We're not talking about fathers.
Absolutely. Bishop, are you there? Bishop, are you there? Okay, we'll come back to Bishop. You may have to had to step away or something for a second, but Cassandra, what's on your heart right now?
I am definitely pro father all the way, and that's just because of the absence, not being able to have my father in my life. So I'm definitely pro father. I'm anti toxicity under any circumstances, whether it's coming. And I know women that are very toxic. They're so hurt by what he did. He dogged her. He did wrong, but she's so bruised and wounded because of what he did that she wants to spread that toxicity to the child. I'm totally, and I tell women this, I've done it for years. Don't do that. Nothing angers me more than for women to talk down that man in front of her children. Don't do that. That's something I never did. And I was in an abusive marriage, and now she saw it for herself, but I never talked him down, said your daddy is a dirty dog, he ain't no good, he's sorry. Don't do that, because that thing is planted in that child's spirit, and you can cause more damage to your child than you doing to the man. So it's really important. Like I said, I am totally pro father. If a man wants to be with his children, he has to do whatever he got to do in order to make sure that he's spending the time that he wants to spend with his child. And if a woman is toxic, she doesn't want that. She wants to hurt him. The way to hurt him is the child. That's absolutely not. You're dead wrong if you do that.
Absolutely.
So, I just want to say that we can't do that. Women, don't do that.
And what's amazing, I find it real amazing that where all the support is coming from. That sometimes the women are actually supporting the men and the men supporting women. It's amazing how this flow is going today. Bishop, good morning, sir. Good morning. How you doing?
Good morning. I am blessed. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning, sir. Now, you've been listening to the broadcast. I wish I could have got to you a little sooner, man, but we got a lot going on this morning. I want to hear your heart, though. Mama, where's daddy? Mama, where's daddy? What's on your heart?
That is a true statement that affects the American people, when affects people across the world. Mama, where's daddy? In hindsight, if we look at the totality of what's going on in America, what's going on in the world, because there's a rift between the wife and the father, or the boyfriend and girlfriend, one tries to pull one parent away from the children by speaking negatively of them. Society has dictated in some sense that the parents of the wife or the mother should take custody of the child. And in doing so, the woman decides she wants to be vindictive, talk negatively about the father, and vice versa. It happens both ways. I am a man, I'm pro-man, but I'm pro-right. And meaning that I think a father can raise a daughter or a son just as effective as a woman by herself. But because the court system sees it's best to give the child to the woman as opposed to the man, and then the woman becomes that vindictive or evil person because the man has moved on with another woman. She regrets and hates that. I can come and bring, my personal experience to my family, what my boys are dealing with in their marriage, and how the women are trying to get money from them. They made the decision to leave. They made the decision to do what they did, but they don't want to let my boys see their children. They don't want the grandparents to see the children because the relationship broke up. But what I've explained to people, what role did you play in the severity of our relationship breaking up? Another thing, you can't take a one-night stand and think you're going to grab a family off a one-night stand. One night hookup, you get pregnant. There was no love there. There was no overwhelming desire. Now you got a baby. And so now you got to deal with it. So you want to try to get money out of the deal. And I'm going to say this and I'm going to shut up because I can go all over the place. I heard some of the stuff. I want to say this about my girl, Alan. Thank God for that lady. She has such a heart and compassion. But I cannot and will not look at a chick flick with her because she and I both be sitting there blowing smiling and wasting all the tissue because she had such a big heart.
Yeah.
And she
Yeah.
cared. And everything is very passionate to her, the same way with me.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a story, and I had to get involved in it, where a young lady was receiving $400 a month from the child's father. They were not a couple. She let somebody get into her ear and said, girl, you can get more money than that. He was paying it out of his own pocket, not forced by the court. And then he'd go get the little child and spend time with her to do great things with the little girl. The judge, she went to the court, the judge looked at this, and the judge saw that he paid $400 a month faithfully. So because the girl was trying to get more money, the judge reduced it down to $180 a month.
Wow.
Now, what she did, she allowed somebody to get in her ear to tell her something because the judge brought everything into place. He had the receipt, he kept the receipt for proof. I took her to the park, I took her to the movie, I took her to the play, I did this with her, I did that with her. This is what I spent for her birthday, these were the gifts that I bought, and this is what I give her mama each month. One child.
Mm-hmm.
He cut the price down and told him, all that you've been doing, you can keep doing it, but that's your choice if you choose to.
Mm-hmm.
What makes this man so great? Now, the court ordered to take it down to 180. That's cool. But everything else that he was doing, he kept doing.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, see, sometimes being greedy or stupid cause you to lose out on what you had that was great.
Good deal. Good
Don't
deal.
cut off your nose to
Mm-hmm.
bite your face.
That's right. That's right. Anna, what's on your heart right now? Talk to me.
I'm one of these mothers that understands it from both aspects. And I will say this, at the end of the day, and this is for mothers and fathers, remember one thing, and I've been very fortunate that I had mom and dad there all through my life. To this day, they're still married, almost 50 years married. And I appreciate you guys for doing that. And I think that's my pain behind my child not having that, because that's what I desired for that child. I will say this, that child is the only one that hurts. So at the end of the day, you're not doing mom harm, you're not doing that man harm. And I agree with Cassandra, and I believe that Frank, or it might have even been Pastor L, that said it as well. You're hurting no one but that child. And at the end of the day, we're all adults. It's going to come right back to us. And we're the ones that are hurting that child and generations to come. And it's like a curse that we're putting on that child, because they want to have a relationship regardless what the other parent thinks, no matter how bad you don't like mom, no matter how bad you don't like dad, no matter how much you say that crazy family, meaning other family members. Guess what? That crazy family is who you chose as a mother or as a father to your child. That crazy family is who you've chosen to have in your child's life. So try to make the best of it. There's certain situations where some of us can't do a thing about it. If the other parent just walks out, then you kind of, as hurtful as it is, you got to kind of figure it out for that child and try to help as much as possible. And that's whom I was referring to at the beginning, not, the ones that try, because I've seen so many guys that I'm like, look, you need to take her to court. You need to do what the rest of us moms that don't have the dad there get up and do, and take the father to child support. For me, it took 5 years because I seeked that in the father. But when you forget you have a whole being that was born, then you're responsible for that. And that mother or that father is going to make sure that you take responsibility. Men, I highly recommend for you to get girls that are able to and will help you find your way through the court system, because women know it very well. They look it up. And for any of my brothers in the state of Georgia, there is, as far as I'm concerned, help for you fathers. It's called Fathers Support Group. I'm not sure. I'll look it up and I'll put it on my post later on. It's for fathers seeking to see their children. Every father should have half visitation rights. It's not right, because some women do try to not have you have that right. You deserve as much right as the mother. It is heartbreaking for a mother to do that. I think you're worse of a person than a guy that does that, because you should know better. Mm-hmm. But if the dad just walks away and leaves you to find your way, then the father deserves every repercussion that comes from that. And that's pretty much all I have on my heart right for now.
Good deal. Good deal. We're going to go to Bessie, but right now, what I like for everybody to do, if you don't mind doing so, share this broadcast. Share this broadcast on your social media. Please share this broadcast on all y'all social media so people can understand. We got some background noise. Everybody on the line, mute your line so we don't have that. We got some hissing coming through. So everybody mute your line. Yes, if you don't mind doing so, share the broadcast, man. There's some things being said today I think people really need to hear. Bessie, what's on your heart?
I agree with everybody, actually. Everybody said everything right on point. Especially the fact that if that father wants a relationship with his child, by all means, let it happen, especially if he's not abusive or anything. By all means, let it happen. But when it's the father, just like Anna said, when it's the father that says, I quit, and he don't ever come around or call or ask, then what are you supposed to do? And of course, I agree with the fact that you don't ever bad talk that man in front of his children, no matter what, no matter what kind of man he is. Not at all. You do bad talk them because you're doing more harm to that child. You let that child figure out what kind of man he is when he gets old, when they get older. That's up to them to decide. You want, you know, whether they want them in their life or not.
Exactly.
When that father does come around.
Absolutely.
So sometimes the sad part is sometimes when they do want to come around, for instance, my oldest son, you know, the father was in and out of jail, never, you know, came around. It wasn't until he was like 16 that I guess he opened his eyes and realized, wait a minute, I have a son that I need to take care of. And he started calling him more often and whatever, but my son didn't want a relationship with him by then. When he did, he was gone. But by the time the father wanted one, my son was like, no, oh God, no. And I tried very hard. Ray, you know, here, it's your dad. You know, you forgive him for whatever it is that you feel like he did. But by then, my son was already cold-hearted and didn't want a relationship with him. But that eventually went away, and now him as an adult, being 25 years old, they get along perfectly fine. But sometimes by then, they, you know, they're brokenhearted and they don't want that relationship. Sometimes it's too late, but you know, thank God my son opened his eyes and, you know, learned to forgive him.
Exactly. We have another caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Good morning. This is Teresa. Howdy.
Hey, Teresa, how you doing?
I'm good.
Good deal. Good to have you. What we're talking about this morning is Mama, where's Daddy? Mama, where's Daddy? Is that something that any child should have to utter to their mother? Where's their father?
Is that what now?
Is there any word that a child should ever have to utter to their mother, asking where's Daddy? Daddy's not in the picture. Daddy's not around. What do you say to that?
Yeah, I think, Lord have mercy. You can't get here without a daddy. So mamas, we got to figure this out. You got to be able to, the kid deserves to know who their daddy is. The relationship will become with the dad and the child. But the kid deserves to know who the daddy is. Point blank. It's too many people that I'm seeing that's older and their issues stem from not knowing their daddy. So it's very important, mothers, to let your child know who their daddy is. The good, bad, and ugly. And then deal with that. If you're going to deal with it now or later, you're going to have to deal with it. So.
Exactly. And see, and we start off this conversation this morning saying that there's a lot of different layers to this whole equation, and there really is. There's a lot of layers involved in what we're talking about today. Donna, what's on your heart?
This is a good topic. It's a personal one. You know, and when I was saying that when my son came and asked me, Dad, why did you leave? I'm pretty sure he asked his mom. And you know what she probably said? Go ask your daddy. Because they knew, she knew that we had some issues, but I wasn't going to allow that to separate me from them. Period. And nobody else. I'll tell you what else happened. I went to visit my kids when they were coming up, and the boyfriend was at the house. I walked in the house, I shook his hand, I visited my kids, and I left. Trying to be brief. A couple of days later, I got to the job, and he was there. I worked about 20 miles out of town, and he after work, he was standing outside, just standing there. And now both of us live about 20 miles out of town. So I rolled the window down and said, well, you need a ride? He said, yeah, man. So sure enough, I got back in town. And he said, just drop me off right here. I said, okay. The next day, I said, hey, bro. I said, I know where you was going. I said, I don't have a problem with you. I said, as long as you don't mess with my kids, we'll be fine. What I mean by that is we try to find excuses to keep us away, or we try to make up excuses to keep the parents from each other, from their kids. That's the wrong thing to do.
Yes.
Now, if they're crazy, you might have to consider some things because some of them will hurt you and your kids.
I got a friend.
So it's a broad subject.
I have a friend. I'm certainly not gonna call his name, but I have a friend back in Greensboro, North Carolina, that's actually in intensive care right now because his daughter was dealing with this guy, and the guy just wouldn't do what he's supposed to do, and he confronted him, and the guy shot him, and now he's been in the hospital for the last few weeks in intensive care, fighting for his life. And so you have to be real mindful of that. There's a lot going on in this right here. Anna, I think you had something that you wanted to read. And everybody mute your line if you're on the phone, mute your line so we don't have the background noise. Mute your line for me, everybody.
Yes, I do. This is from Phyllis Pearson. She is one of the church members at the church I attend, Church at College Park. So she reads, my father lived next door. She wrote, my father lived next door for years with my mother's best friend, and my mother stayed strong and never said a negative thing about him, which is exactly a lot of our points. There's no reason to talk bad about the dad. Children see for themselves. There's no reason to go there. And Phyllis, thank you for that. Anybody else would like to write your comments? We will read them throughout, the broadcast. And again, the topic is Mama, Where's Daddy? And I think that's very important. And Raheen, I just wanted to know if it's okay if we can pray for your friend that's in intensive care right now, because that's something that's really sad, because he was defending his daughter from a situation, and hopefully we'll get some good news, a good report after our prayer.
Absolutely.
And I'd like to do it at the end of the broadcast.
No, go ahead. You can do it now. I'll put you on the spot. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you and we ask for forgiveness if we have sinned against you or sinned against anyone else. We all come to you and ask that you lay your hands and send those angels to bring life back to Raheen's friend, and that you just give the glory and just make peace for whatever has gone on and whatever's taken place because of somebody not doing right and wanting to do the wrong thing and shoot somebody. I'm assuming it was shoot somebody because of this situation, and bring life back to him touch him so that he can tell people this testimony of what harm this does to people when you're not doing the right thing by your children. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen. Y'all know I gotta when somebody pray, I gotta stand to my feet. So if y'all don't see me, that means I'm standing up. Sherry, what's on your heart? Talk to me, sis.
Hey, just been sitting here listening to everything. It's really crazy because I never spoke bad about my husband. I knew not to do that, but I was also reminded by my mom's best friend because she went through some of the same situations that I went through. And I never uttered a word because, like you say, the kids grow up, they see things, they'll remember, they'll come back and ask questions. But it's like when as you're a child, you think like a child, you think that's my dad, it's my mom, they're dealing with stuff, and you can't really rationalize what's going on. But as you get older, your mind develops and you understand, well, this wasn't right and that wasn't right. So I don't say anything, but I still have documentation to state what I was saying was true because I have been attacked. I have been followed. I have had to deal with all of that stuff. So it's like looking at other people and the things that they deal with, and I tell them, be careful, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like when people feel that their back is up against the wall, they do crazy stuff. It just doesn't make sense. And you have to be mindful of that. And unfortunately, I was released from my situation. It's a bittersweet moment because I have peace and I'm not in hiding anymore because I was in hiding. But yet at the same time, it's bittersweet because my kids don't have their father. And if he would still be alive, he would make my life a living hell because he was cheating on me. And it's like the thought, oh, you can't have nobody. It's like if I can't have you, no one can. And I mean, I didn't want to, I was living in fear. And it's like, to this day, I just honestly, I can't understand how in the world did I get to that point. And the lasting effects, it bothers me. I really don't talk about it, but it bothers me. I'm up most of the night. I can't sleep a lot of times. And it's just amazing how people take things and they run with it. And people who are fathers that genuinely want to be in their kids' life, and they're ones that don't, and it falls a child support thing. He was lying, saying I was taking all his money. I have documentation. I was only getting $300 a month for child support, and I had 2 kids. My kids eat more than that in a month. And he was lying, saying I was taking all his money. He didn't have any money, and he was drinking it up. I have documentations how much money he made. Plus, his friend lived here, and he was paying the mortgage. All he had to do was pay utilities in the house. But he lied, and I was so attacked by so many people, and I just like, you want to know what the best way I can basically handle the situation, keep my mouth shut because the truth gonna come out. So instead of me sitting up here, oh, woe is me, and crying, he did this, I didn't say anything. They asked me a question, I answered it, and I left it alone. They said, what did you do? I didn't do anything to him because I did not. And lo and behold, God released me from my situation. It's crazy how he did it, but it is what it is. And I'm at peace. I moved back into my house. I reclaimed my household because it was my house. I picked it up and it's mine. But he treated me like I was crap. He left me stranded. He locked me out of the house. He told me this was his house. If I didn't like it, I could leave. So I left. So, I mean, it's so many different things. And I could take this conversation and run with it. And it's just like, y'all just don't know. I've been through hell and back. And at times I can't even sleep because the wheels on my head keep turning. I'm up late at night. Like Raheem had hit me up like 12 o'clock. Like, why you up? I was like, I never sleep. I take naps. But when I do, I enjoy that sleep. Lord knows I do.
All right, let's keep this thing going, Sherry. Definitely appreciate you, sis. Definitely appreciate you. Cassandra, and I'm going to go to Cassandra, then I'm going to go to Calvin after that. But Cassandra, let me ask you something. You being who you are, and we're not going to try to evaluate anybody on air. We're certainly not going to do that. But what do you hear in Sherry's story? Do you hear any pain, or what do you hear?
Oh, definitely. There's no way that there is not residual pain, even if the person has died, because, you know, the reason that I'm going through some of the physical thing that I'm going through right now was from a brain injury from my ex-husband. You understand? And so that's something that will always be with me now, unfortunately. But when you experience that and your children have experienced that, there is a residual effect, and you can hear it I mean, Sherry, even though he's gone, you still have to deal with that thing. You understand? And that's why, you know, a lot of times, you know, I don't get to sleep at night because of the brain injury I have. You know, I can't sleep because of pain. So I definitely know that not only are our children affected, but sometimes we have residual stuff going on. But this is why we have to talk about it. And Sherry, don't ever let anybody make you feel like you should not share your story. I don't care whether they agree or they disagree with it. Sometimes the more we talk about that thing, the more healing comes. Because as you, the enemy can't use it over you if you put it out there and say, oh no, this happened to me. This happened to my children. You understand? And I'm working through it. And I'll be the first person to say, I still have to work through some of the pain of what I went through. My children, my daughter is almost 40 years old, 39 years old. And we just talked yesterday, and she was expressing some of the stuff that she went. We just have to be aware that what happens in our lives affects our children. It affects our children. And it affects us in the long run as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Calvin, are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I'm here. I'm listening.
Okay, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
I believe we already talked. I was just listening in at this point.
Okay. Okay. Good deal. Good deal. Bishop, what's on your heart?
Listening to the conversations of everyone and then feeling the hurt of the conversation. And I you know, I'm not going to go away from the topic, but I'm going to say this: I cannot stand a man beating on a woman. Beating a woman into submission, just to hear some of that just really irks my spirit. And, you know, my heart goes out to anyone that has experienced that. And I'm listening to Sherry, and, you know, I can hear, I can feel, I'm glad, you know, our pastor was able to bring some recognition to what she's dealing with and what, you know, what Sherry's dealing with. And then she brought about her own personal experience through, you know, the brain situation, the brain trauma. So we just want to just keep everybody encouraged and keep them in prayer.
Yes.
Topics are great, opinions are wonderful, and thoughts and as it relates. But the reality is things happen, they happen. We just want to keep praying and praying that God give them the strength and the courage to continue to move on, and don't let that situation, i.e. with a deadbeat dad, abusive mom to the children, or whatever the case may be in the relationship, we just want to keep prayer out there for all of them. So, you know, I'm just listening. I'm just touched a little bit on one side because it doesn't make sense. That these men, yeah, I say women too, will take a good person or someone that could be a potentially great person in their life, and they just run them off and then they dog them out, verbally or physically. It's just heart-wrenching.
Absolutely. Absolutely. El, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
Like I said, subjective conversation, so many caveats in this conversation. You got, you know, where's my daddy? Well, he's in jail because he's selling drugs. Well, he's in jail, but he's really innocent. He didn't do it. He got locked up for the wrong thing. You got some fathers that are there that aren't there. They're right there in the same house. They ain't even present. So there is so many caveats. I just say this for the mothers that have children. There's still men out there that are willing to be father figures for your child, to show them a positive role model. You know, ideally you want to have the DNA line that your child has to be that father. Because what I told my son's mom, I said, listen, there's certain things that you have a propensity to do, both negative and positive. The positive things, you need to help reinforce those things in our child, and the negative things, there's a chance that our child will deal with that from you. Likewise, myself, certain things I have a propensity to, negative and positive, that my child. So both of us as the DNA givers need to be involved as much as possible in rearing our child so we can help them avoid some of the pitfalls we have. In an ideal picture perfect situation, Raheem, that's what we want. But because of sin, that's not what we have. And so I challenge the women out there, you know, all men aren't jerks. They're not. All men aren't deadbeat. If you can find, I don't know, it might be your dad, or it might be the father of the deadbeat, or whoever. But find someone within wisdom and reason that can be a positive role model for your child. It's one of the reasons why I enjoy doing Real Men Being Men broadcast, Raheem, because it gives a voice to the men to try to inspire other men to stand up and be men. And I just think that's very important that our kids have that. As a youth pastor for 10, 12 years, man, I dealt with that all the time, man. Many tough nights.
Yeah.
Because the kids hurt, man. The kids hurt, they hurt me.
Yeah.
A lot of the behavioral problems that they're having in the streets is because daddy or mommy's not there, and so I don't, we have spent a lot of time talking about the dad's responsibility, the mom's responsibility, but man, at the end of the day, man, it goes back to those children, man. Those children are precious in the sight of God. Exactly.
And that's been my stance throughout the whole conversation, because it's gone a lot of different ways. One say this, one say that, point the finger, there was a place where there was some finger pointing being done. But my thing is this right here. We can't concentrate on the finger pointing. What we need to concentrate on, what needs to be focused on, is the children. Are you taking care? Okay, you can sit here and you can give me a list of what she didn't do. Now you give me the list of what he didn't do. Now together, collectively, what did you do to make sure that child is being taken care of? All that's good. You got your list. He got his list. That's fine. All that's good. We'll address all that stuff later. But now let's address what is little Johnny not getting. What is little Susan? What is she missing? And I'm gonna play this poem again, because there's something there about the, I had a play at school last week and I looked out. Don't you start crying, Anna. And I looked out and he wasn't there. Tell me the truth, mama. Does daddy still care? No child should have to wonder whether their father or their mother care for them or not. They shouldn't have to worry about that. Should be their least worry, whether they care. Yes, they care. And they have the responsibility to show that they care. Teresa, what's on your heart? Teresa, you there?
Yes, I was on mute. I have been experienced or been around a lot of people who have had what I call daddy issues, kids that are acting out. And when you have a conversation with them, you see that they're really want to know more about their daddy. They want their daddy in their life. And I've always wondered what's the attachment to me in those situations. I grew up with my mom and my daddy, one household. So this is like weird. But then when I had my child, I married and now I'm divorced. And I now understand a little bit more on the need of a father being present. And it's very key that a father be present in the child's life, no matter how crazy the mama is. Because the Bible is hurt only because the emotions that she felt about the man, or it could be in the situations that we just described, being battered and all that abuse and stuff like that. Aside from abuse, the absence of the father is very key, and we need to do something about it, because it's really impacting and affecting our community as a whole. We have to, I pray every day for men to take that place in society so that they can actually help our community. Kids are missing their dads. I don't care how the women feel about the father. The kids are missing, even if they know they're trifling. I see where men are just trifling, having a child wait on them, saying they're coming to pick them up, and the child is sitting up waiting on their daddy. And then guess what? That child becomes angry, and you don't even know why. And the underlying reason always end up with the absence of the father.
Yes. Yes.
So we really got to really work on encouraging our men, or even if you're not the daddy. I've seen where men, even if they're not the daddy in the community, step up and talk to these kids. You've got to do that. You can't be afraid of children, right? Because if you don't, they go into the games and all that stuff. They always looking for a daddy. So if we can actually pray for our men to actually take that place that God is ordained them to be kings over this land, on this earth, right now. It's the perfect opportunity because everybody's at home now, right? So you got that time to think about what you should be doing, what you can do, despite what the mama is saying, despite what the mama feel. You need to make a direct connect with your children.
Good deal. I'm gonna play this this poem one more time, and then after that, Curtis, I'm coming to you. Curtis, you there? Curtis, you there?
Yeah, I'm right here, bro.
Okay, I'm gonna play this poem, and then after I play the poem, Curtis, I'm coming back to you. Okay.
What?
This is a poem that was written several years ago. Y'all listen, and hope you enjoy it.
Hey you, do you have a car? Mama, where's daddy? Why is he never home? Why when I wake up in the morning, why is he always gone? I had a play at school last week. I looked out and he wasn't there. Please tell me the truth, Mama. Does daddy still care? He told me I was his baby and that I should always believe that he will always be here for me. So Mama, tell me, why did he leave? I know you two used to argue. I remember you used to fight. But in my prayers to God, I asked him to make things right. I believe that he would do it and bring daddy back home. Don't worry about it, Mommy. We won't always have to be alone. Daddy promised for Christmas that he will give me something I like. Do you think for real, Mama, that he show up with that bike? Or will he buy it for that other child, in the house where he stays? How can he say he loved me and never come around? Grown up have some silly ways. Will you ever leave me too, Mommy? Will we ever be apart? Please don't leave me, Mommy. You are my only heart.
Kurt, talk to me, brother.
Well, Kurt, you know what? I said when you called on me before, and I gotta say it now, man. Thanks to everybody who prayed for me the other day. That was foul for me not to come out and pay y'all homage and say thank you.
Yes, sir.
Because the prayers was definitely felt. But I've been sitting back and I've been listening to everyone speak. And I've been in some circles where we had to talk about just this topic. And this topic is one of the things that I honestly say I think Barack Hussein Obama for. Because one of the best things that I believe for Barack Hussein Obama is Barack Hussein Obama made it cool to be a dad. He showed the community what they was missing in being a father. So since his presidency, I don't know if anybody paid any attention, but if we really evaluated what happened after he became president, we'll take notice to, after his presidency, a whole lot of brothers started saying, hold on, man, let me go home. I got to go be with my kids. Like, I've been missing out on some things. So I thank him. If I thank him for anything, I thank him for that. Just being that image to a community that had been told for years and socially, how can I put this? Socially separated due to legislation or whatever. He told us that, nah, man, it's your responsibility. And sometimes it can be hard, man. It can be hard. Sometimes you got people getting into this thing with the idea of oh, if I have a child, then I'll keep him. Or if I get her pregnant, we can stay together. Well, hold on, bro. Hold on, sis. That ain't what this whole thing was about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm just speaking honestly and freely. I mean, I know according to scripture, you ain't supposed to have sex until you marry. That ain't what the world doing. So, you know what I mean? It's obvious that's not what the world is doing. But, you have those situations where you got folks that's, they getting pregnant and or impregnating these women or these men because they're thinking, if I do that, then I'll get to keep that person. So my only question is, well, if you're keeping the person truly about you having a healthy relationship, or is it just about the fact that you want to keep something in your grasp? You know what I mean? Like is this a possession thing? Or is this really, I want to have a healthy relationship thing?
Good deal. El, what's on your heart? El, let me do this.
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead, do that.
Let me do this. What do you say to the young man that comes and you walk him on a conversation that he's having with the baby's mother, and they're having a heated discussion, and in the course of that conversation, he just break down, man. He said, "I want to be there. I want to be there. I love my child," but in his tears, he said, "I just don't know how to be a father. I never had a father. I don't know how to be a father, and I don't know what it takes. I don't know how to do that." What do you say? You walking by El. God stop you at that moment. What do you say to him?
They're saying somebody I don't know, a stranger I'm walking by on the street, and him and his girl, or somebody that I know, that we just have a conversation. I'm listening to them argue. Which one? Somebody I don't know?
Let's say it's somebody you do know. That will make it a little easier for you to have a conversation with them. Let's say it's somebody that you do know.
Well, I'm not going to tell you exactly what words I'm going to say, but I'm going to tell you my intent of my words is to let him know, first of all, he's not by himself. And this is a journey he doesn't have to, with my experience as being a father, let him know that he's not by himself and that him and I will figure it out together. The reason why I say figure it out as an intent, because everybody's situation is different. So there's going to be some figuring going on. But at the end of the day, we want to go where this young man feels like he can father his children. And because it's a very real scenario you just paint, I know hypothetical, but very real for some people. They are not there. There's some fathers or some men, let me say it this way, that are out there to be fathers because they're scared they don't know what to do. That's a horrible excuse, but it's what they're dealing with. It's the demon they're dealing with. And so I want this young man to know that, first of all, I'm here for you, boss. We're going to do this together. We're going to take it step by step, and we're going to be there. And then I think you said the young lady was there too. And I'm going to ask her, does she hear the sentiments of his heart? I know you guys are just arguing. I know you guys are fighting, but I want you to set that aside for a minute. Do you hear the sentiments of his heart? He wants to be there, but it sounds like right now he's more scared than anything. And so a lot of times people react out of anger when they're fearful. And so I would want to try to get that conversation to calm down a little bit and get them on what I call same page therapy, and make sure that he understands that you're not by yourself, man. Because there's a lot of women, I could hear some women saying now, well, I don't know, my mama wasn't there or whatever. I don't know how to be a mom, Yup. And they do it though. They brave it. They tough it out. I was a single dad for 6 years. 6 years I was a single dad, man. And I didn't talk bad about single mothers. I didn't. But I tell you what, I never day in my life would raise an eyebrow, look at them crazy for anything that they're doing, because it's tough being a single parent. It's really tough. It's really tough, man. And I'm kind of veering off the conversation a little bit, but you did ask what was on my heart as well. I basically living out of my car in an efficiency or with the extended stay, barely make enough money to take care of me, my son. There was days that I went to Dollar Tree and bought the chicken out the Dollar Tree. There was days, my last $5 on a Little Caesars pizza. My boy grown, he ate most of the pizza by himself. I went to bed hungry, man. So yeah, we need both parties there, and it takes a lot of work and responsibility, but it takes a lot of ownership, not of the child per se, but ownership of your part in the relationship, ownership of your part in raising and rearing that child in the fear and the admonition of the Lord. Malachi 4:6 says that in the last days before the Lord comes, that the spirit of prophet of Elijah should come, and he'll preach and begin to speak to the people, and it's going to drive the hearts of the fathers back to the children, and the hearts of the children back to the fathers. Yes, we've got a lot of work to do, and we've got to start someplace. But like you said, I think you've been trying to say for most broadcasts, it's got to stop with the finger pointing and start with considering what we're really here to do, and that is take care of these children. You still there? If you're talking right now, I can't hear you, Raheem.
I'm here.
Okay.
Okay, I'm here too, so I don't know what had just happened.
So, well, that's most of what I was going to say to that situation. We got to make sure we take time for these boys, man. And as fathers, I always try to find. I just moved here to Atlanta, so I haven't found one or two yet. I find young men that I can touch and I can reach and help out, man. A lot of that's a very real sentiment. There's some young men who may jumped into bed too soon and had a child, and they are terrified now. Want to be there, want to do the right thing. And a lot of times they take it out on the mother. Sometimes they just don't show up for fear of messing it up. There's so many caveats for the situation. I know it's just on me right now on the screen. Hopefully Raheem to come back real quick. I'm not trying to hog up the conversation. Raheem, you still there? Well, all right then. So let me do this.
We can tag team this. You don't have to argue. We can tag team.
Yeah. So Sherry, come on. I just want to see your face when you're talking, so they won't think I'm, doing ventriloquism or something like that.
No, I don't know why. But yeah, you had some interesting points, and then yes, people have a tendency to be afraid to be a father, but I mean, you have to step up and you have to take that spot. It is what it is. You it's not all just fun and games. You can't fun and create the child and say, hey, and walk away like, hey, I did my job. Okay, the hard. I mean, that was the easy part. The hard work is nurturing them and raising them up to be the people they need to be. A son, I mean, a man or a woman. For me, it's hard because I'm doing it by myself, and I live in Atlanta by myself, or in the Atlanta area by myself, and my family wanted me to move back home, but it was like I'm doing other things, and my resources are here for me to make sure that my kids grow up to be decent women, and I just couldn't just go move back home to Michigan and start over. I was like, I have a house here, and I just finished school, so I was like, I cannot go back home just because they want me there. And it's like people's like, come home, I'll take care of you. I'm a grown woman. Who should be take care of me? My best friend was like, I'll take care of you. You can live with me. And she kind of did like the girl from Living Single, woo woo woo. I'll take care of you and everything. It was so funny. I'm like, but no, I'm doing it, and I'm stronger, and I'm better than this. And I have my moments where I break down and cry, but it is what it is, and you have to keep pushing, you have to keep moving, but we still have to keep in mind that we can't tell somebody down because the situation did not work out the way it should have worked out. You cannot tell that person down. And I did, and I kept my mouth closed when people were coming and attacking me everywhere and all over the place. But at the end of the day, it's like, I guess it just, all I could hear was like, peace be still, like keep your mouth shut. God gonna fight your battles, and he handled it the way he sought to handle it. And I still have people coming and attacking me. But at the same time, I'm not about to keep the abuse going by being attacked by other people.
Keep talking, sis.
Yeah, so by everything, because people were attacking me left and right. I had a lot of issues dealing with people like his family. They weren't around my kids before he passed away, and after he passed away, it's like they're really not around. It's like at the funeral, they was like, well, we gonna take care. We gonna stand in the gap for the daddy and this, that, and other. We gonna be there for kids. The person who said it was the only one I really talked to in the family, and I haven't seen or heard from him. And that was last year. So it was just me and my kids. I let the kids speak to his sister. So we speak to his sister, but at the same time, it's just crazy. It's fighting this battle out here, and it's hard fighting this battle out here, and you have negative people. But at the end of the day, I feel like this: if you be right, you do right, and just let God take the wheel and do his thing, everything will be fine. Because And I told Raheem, I don't have a filter in my mouth. So I pray and I try to keep my anger down. But when you take me there, turn the other cheek. I done ran out of cheeks. I ran out of cheeks. I was like, I would hit you with this word. When we had a show and I was there with him, I was going to hit you with this word. But at the end of the day, I pray that God continues to watch, to keep my mouth and keep my attitude down, because I feel that he's taking me to places that I can't even see in my wildest dreams. And I'm grateful for that.
Sure, I want to say something too. I know a couple guys may have touched on, but I want to emphatically make sure that I echo the sentiment that the women echoed from the man's voice. That is, do not talk bad and negative about the other parent in front of those kids. Let me tell you my story. Quick testimony. Raheem, our host, is back on now. Both of my sons, my youngest son, the one I was a single parent for so long. Never, ever. I could say some things right now. You'd be like, oh, I see why that didn't work out. But I never, ever. I said, hey, you need to call your mom today. You need to call your mom today. Now, here, talk. You know, and I made sure that, because it's important for me, for my male child, to have a maternal instinct around him as well. See, I get it. Me and her, we messed up. We made some mistakes, but a child still has to have both voices. You know what happened one day? His grandmother on her side, got on the phone with him and started dogging me out. And I was in the kitchen. I looked over and I saw his face getting tight and his eyes getting watery. And he just walked in and just gave me the phone. I said, what's going on? He says, I don't want to talk to her. I don't want to talk to her. I said, well, go ahead and tell your grandma. He says, Dad, I didn't know what was going on. So I said, baby, talk to your mom, talk to your grandma. So he says to her, he says, my daddy has never said anything bad about you, ever. Don't talk about my daddy that way. And it's very important that we realize these kids are paying attention. And like Frank said, man, they still love both of us. No matter how jacked up he is, no matter how jacked up she is, don't dog them kids. Don't dog them parents out, the biological parents out from the kids, man. You're going to regret that. And my oldest child, when he came to visit me, I went to his high school graduation. So from 18 to 20, he stayed with me in Tennessee. And he was always asking, well, Dad, what happened? I never, ever had anything bad to say, to the point that one day he says, Dad, you don't have anything bad to say about my mom? I said, son, there's a lot of things I can say, but a lot of things you don't need to hear. At the end of the day, know that your mother loves you. She loves you very much. She's concerned about your education. She's concerned about this. That's the only thing that's important to me, son, that she loves you. That's the only thing that matters to me. And he looked at me and he says, watch this. But that's not how she did you. I said, I'm sure there's probably a lot of things that were said about me. It don't really matter. You'll get a chance to find out for yourself. That's why we're having these time together now, so you can learn me for yourself. You know what that did for me, Mark? He says, Dad, you're cool. He said, your cool points. He went from calling me my nigga to Pops. When I first saw him after showing me, he says, what's up, my nigga? I said, what? I said, first of all, I ain't gonna be you or nobody else's nigga. That's number one. I'm your father. We got that straight. Within the 2 years that he spent with me, he finally says, Dad, you know, you get mad cool points because you're not the person that they painted you out to be.
Yeah.
I thought this, that. Now I'm kind of concerned what was really going on her side. I said, son, don't waste your time with what happened yesterday. I need you to be focused on today and what's going to happen for you tomorrow. It's time for you to grow up. It's time for you to live your life. Don't talk about those parents bad like that in front of each other. That's horrible. Don't do that. That's garbage. Don't do that.
You're pouring poison into their hearts. That's exactly what you're doing. You're pouring poison into their heart. Anna, what's on your heart?
I got, first of all, as many of you guys know, I am the survivor of domestic violence. I want to start by saying this. If you're a man or a woman and you need help, go online to thehotline.org. I nearly lost my life. Okay. It's not worth it. Okay. I'd also like for you guys to call, and I'll repeat it again, 1-800-799-7233. I'm going to repeat it 2 more times. 1-800-799-7233. 1-800-799-7233. As many of you guys know, I have epilepsy to this day due to domestic violence. It is not worth it. Seek the help, because there's some very abusive women out there as well. Yeah. Okay. get the help that you need. And if you guys need to call me through Messenger, send me a message. I will reach out. If you're a male, I will make sure that the message gets to Raheem, Pastor L, Frank, or Curtis, any of the other men on the panel. Sherry can help as well, as she's also gone through this. Another thing is, please, Pastor L has a great point. I kind of went through the same thing with my middle child. The grandmother called my child. I've always made sure they had communication. Never had I said anything crazy. I don't know why she did that, but she goes and she tells my middle child, your mom is this, that. My child looked up to mom. And to this day, Raheem, you've seen the relationship we have, and anybody, Sherry, you've been in the studio. My child started crying and said to her grandma, you have talked about the person I admire and love the most in my life. And she really just tarnished that relationship, because I always made sure that no matter what the father did, there was always that communication and that relationship with the family. She tarnished that. Now it's real hard for that child to trust that grandmother again. At this point, you know what? She's grown up. She's almost 18. They try coming around now. She sees for herself. And she's not sitting here by me, just so you guys know she's not by me. But she's seen for herself. And what's sad about it is I also have a disabled child who no one ever looked for. All these years, no one looked for. I've had to bear this responsibility all on my own. So like I say to you guys, just do your part. Let God handle the rest. And, just not even wish, pray and speak peace, because you're not only affecting that child, and this is to both parents, you're affecting those grandchildren, the great-grandchildren, the great-great-grandchildren. So make sure that you're doing the right thing. We can make mistakes, but go back and make it right. Remember that God is there and God hears those cries, even if you made that mistake. And I say this especially to the parent that's not there. Make it right, please, for your generations to come. It isn't about that mother. It isn't about the grandparents. It isn't about any of that, because that person is traumatized and it will tarnish generations to come. So think about it. Contact any of us on this panel, or anybody that you may know that might be able to help you. Hey, you guys, make references to me. I don't mind helping and walking people. I know it gets angering when you've been the only one that's been there and have done, but at the end of the day, they need that side too. And like I tell people, if to you that person is crazy or their kinfolk, guess what? You put yourself in that situation when you made the mistake that you made. You should have thought about that before you made that mistake. And I include myself there, because we've most of us have been in a situation like that. And I commend you outstanding men who are there for your children. I commend you guys. And this is not only guys who walk with Christ. There's some amazing guys out there, and women as well, tough women. And there's also deadbeats, but we're going to focus on the good ones. And I'm sure we're coming to an end soon. So God bless you guys. And again, contact me or contact anybody else on this panel. I'll give you guys contact information if you'd rather talk to a male than me.
Good deal. Good deal. Now let me go to Sherry. Sherry, what's on your heart?
I'll just piggyback off of that. I understand how Anna feels. Even though he did not physically put his hands on me, he did a lot of mean things to me. Like locking me out the house and everything. I mean, left me stranded with the kids. My youngest was, I think, like, she was in a carrier. She was really little, and I had accidentally locked my keys in the car, and I was at church. My friend went to the house to get the keys from him. He wouldn't open the door and get the keys. I tried to call. He said I should have never left the house. And the list goes on and on what he has done, but it's like the lasting effect. And I remember we were talking about like not saying bad things to your children about the other person. My daughter said she overheard her dad saying something about me, and I was like, well, what did he say? And she just started crying, and then she went in the room and closed the door. So it's things that I have yet to find out about that has been a lasting effect on them. They've been traumatized more than once, moving 5 times in 1 year. And then I remember Christmas 2018, Christmas Day, I called them so they can talk to their dad. My oldest got off the phone. This is the last time she actually talked to him on the phone before he died that February. She was like, he don't love us, he don't care. She went in the room and destroyed it. She was throwing things. I thought she was going to break the window. She was throwing things like chairs and whatever. He doesn't love us. He hates us. And it's like, I don't know what can I say to fix this. I didn't talk negative about him, but I couldn't fix it. So only thing I can do is love and pray hard. And it's been a journey since then. She ran away from home. And I had to go find her. I was screaming and crying. I had people searching for her. And it's like my struggle is real. And I don't talk about a lot of stuff. And I'm going to write my book. I'm in the process of writing my book. But it's the struggle is real. People don't know. That's why I was like, people need to treat people the way they want to be treated. You have to have compassion and love for your brothers and sisters, because you never know what they're going through. Like, people don't know what I go through. People don't know what I think about in the night, at nighttime when I'm up 3-4 o'clock in the morning. I can't sleep. I can't this. I can't that. And the only person I could talk to is God, because no one will ever know. No one will ever know. And a lot of stuff I'm going to take to the grave because it was despicable. And it's like, and to me, I feel like, how did I get in this situation? How the person who supposedly loved me and would die for me, he was my knight in shining armor, we could do this stuff. And it's like he changed. And I wonder, because when I met him, I was in undergrad. I was 24. I wonder, was I naive? Was I dumb to this? What did I miss? And I thought about, he was my first real boyfriend. So I was like, I didn't really have a lot of boyfriends. And if I did have a boyfriend, they would only talk to him for about a week. And I just like, I don't want to be bothered with you. But it's like, it has a lasting effect, and we have to be mindful. So I know now I'm wiser. I'm older, I'm wiser, I'm better, I'm so much better. When I look back on my life, I never could have made it without him. Never could have made it without you.
I'm going to mute your line.
You know, I'm gonna slide that in there. You know, I'm gonna slide that in. That's my coping mechanism. I'm trying not to cry no more. I'm trying not to cry. But it's been a struggle right here. You just don't know. Every day I give him the glory. I give the glory, but it's a struggle.
Eric, I gotta keep the thing going. Gotta keep it going.
Okay.
You'll be 12:30. You'll still be talking. Bishop,
yes, sir.
Bishop, what's on your heart?
She'll still be talking. Yeah. We do thank God for Sherry, and I love her enthusiasm, but also feel the passion about a lot of topics that she can personally relate to. Being a young lady, having experienced a lot of things. The topic, like I said earlier, to God be the glory when He gives them to you, and you are able to bring out a lot of things that people are really going through and have gone through, and know someone is going through them. And this is just an awakening. We're just trying to wake the people to the reality of what takes place on a daily basis in the lives of others and someone in some of their own lives. So I appreciate it, Raheem. I appreciate the talks, the conversation. I appreciate, everyone that's on the panel. They give their opinions and views and everything. And there's no right or wrong in anything that anyone is saying as it relates to trying to look at some of the problems that take place. If we see the danger and we don't step up to try to help, then we're wrong.
Exactly.
And if we're not trying to give the advice and what you're doing and what El's doing and what Anna's doing and Sherry and I want to say it, but what I'm going to say, and the thug pastor.
Come on now. Come on now.
I think we're leaving people out that really need the help.
Yes, sir.
So I'm appreciative of every opportunity I get a chance to be here, to be able to speak and say something to help those that are least, the less, and the lost. And for the team, for everyone that doesn't, we're praying. I had to step away for a little bit for one of my churches in Pakistan, and I told them to tune in. And so they should be here. So they're not saying anything because I want them to be a part of this. And since we're in 58 different countries, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is a powerful ministry that you have. God has blessed you with.
Hey, to God be the
glory,
glory,
make
brother.
the best of it. But I do tell my people in Pakistan to tune in and to listen.
Good
so
deal.
Thank you. Thank you, and thank the Lord.
Now, let me ask you this question. Now, what pastor is that? That's the what pastor?
Pastor. Gangster.
We got another caller. We're gonna go to the call in just 1 second. But Cassandra, I can't let it pass by. That's your title, the thug pastor, Cassandra. You the thug pastor.
Yeah, but you know what thug stands for? The help you give. See that y'all didn't even know that. See, it's the help you give. So
Come on now.
That's the pastor I am.
Yes, there
it's
you
the
go.
help pastor. So I'm gonna take that, Bishop. I'm gonna let you slide because I thought we was, tight, but now you're going over the Raheem side. But I love. Okay. Okay. Well, I can't. I don't know what tomorrow holds, so I'm gonna have to do what I got to do now. So,
Yeah.
But anyway, I want to just, Sherry, I just love you. I've never met you. I absolutely love you. I hear the pain. We could talk about your daughter. I don't know whether you are doing anything with that, but that's a part of what I do. Mental health counseling, and it's mental health, not mental illness. But when you've had certain experiences, and our children, that's why I say it's so important for us to pay attention to the relationships that we're in, because whether your child ever says anything out of their mouth, whether they act out, your child has been affected by those negative relationships. And that's for fathers and mothers. Believe me, they might not say anything right now, but their lives are being affected by what they've seen and what they've heard. So it's important for us to take care, even after we come out of a bad relationship, make sure that the children are okay through some type of counseling. It may be your pastor, it may be a mental health worker, but you need to do something. Don't ever assume that your child is okay when they have experienced seeing and hearing any type of domestic violence, verbal, physical, whatever it is.
Trauma.
They pay attention.
Yeah, that's absolutely. When they go through that traumatic situation, you never know the result of what it is going to be and how it's going to affect them. That's trauma. That's absolute trauma. We have another caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey guys, this is Kira. How is everyone doing?
Hey Kira, how you doing?
I'm great. I know I chimed in on the end, but I just had to call in because the spirit of bitterness is a horrible monster. And I don't understand it, but I do know that the cycle can be broken. So I heard Anna and I heard Sherry. And I just want to say and encourage both of you, and even if it's any men listening, if you have a story, don't hide it, because just pray for the courage to share it and help somebody else, because you can help others, break these cycles of bitterness and anger and resentment and, things like that. A lot of times what happens is things happen with the parents, it's poured onto the child, and then the child grows up and they carry the, wounds of their parents, and then it goes to their child, and then it becomes generational. When we do have the power, even if we don't realize that we have the power to stop it. And, as far as, domestic violence and things like that, I won't go all the way deep into it, but, I've experienced it even as a teenager, a teen parent, and adult myself. And, sometimes we just need that outlet. Yes. And to hear somebody else went through that, to know that you don't have to be there. As far as, her daughter is concerned, like the other lady was saying, please, even if, I don't know how old your daughter is, but some type of counseling, no matter, what level it is, someone for her to talk to. And if she feels like she's, too old to listen to you, again, I don't know how old she is.
She's 13. She's 13.
I'm sorry?
She's 13. They go to counseling because of the coronavirus. We're stuck at the house, so I'm doing the best I can to talk to them and spend time with them. I sit at the card table, we play cards. I'm teaching them how to play Bidwiz. So, I'm making the best of it.
Oh,
situation.
oh,
Let
you
me,
kidding.
let me just share this with you. A lot, because I have older kids and a teenager too. So that's awesome that you're actually doing that, because that will make, you know, them or her feel comfortable to be able to open up and communicate at some point. Another thing that I did, and I know this whole coronavirus thing threw everybody off, but you know, pre-coronavirus, with my sons, I try to place them, you know, in the company of trusted individuals, whether it be, you know, a small group at church that they could join, or, you know, relatives or somebody that I knew, because our kids won't tell us everything, but they will confide in somebody. And it's you know, good point that if they do confide in somebody, that you have a relationship with that person they're confiding into, because they'll in turn, you know, communicate with you. If, and, you know, I work with teenagers too. I work with, you know, teens, youth, and things like that. So if you want to reach out to me, I do not mind talking to her. But I do know that what you just said about, you know, interacting with your children, that will lead to better communication. I've seen it for myself, not just with my own kids, but with other kids, you know, as well, because sometimes they just want somebody to be on their level and not be their friend.
Now, Kiara, you know, we got to keep this thing going, right?
I know. I'm sorry. I just, you know, me and teenagers, I'll talk all day, but I'll stop.
I see. I'm just picking at you. Donna, what's on your heart?
You know, it's a lot that we see, and it is the place of healing. If we can find a place of healing, it'll probably help our children heal. Because when we said that the most important thing is the child, sometimes the frustration that we feel and we have experienced, we carry it on and we share that with the children, and then they wind up suffering from it. So we just have to find a place to heal.
Donna, how much of our pain do you think these children carry?
All of it. And then you got two of them. It's your pain and the other one's pain. And then it's the unsaid, because if you hear a parent constantly talking, making conversation about the other parent, and then there's no response from the other parent that's going through the ear of the child, then the child starts making up its own stuff. If that makes any sense.
It does. It really does. Good deal.
So you create a monster.
Elle, what do you say to that? Because I saw a reaction to you when I asked that question. How much of our pain do we pour onto our children, and expect for them to be mature enough to handle it as we would?
Oh, they're a child. That's the second part of the question. They're a child. Maturity can be a tough call for them. They're a child. First part of the question, I was responding to Donald's response to the question. You know, I might be bitter with the mama, one person. The mama might be bitter with me, one person. That child has to deal with both parents emotionally, and they get the double whammy, man. And it just, and when Donald said that, it just hit me like, man, that's beyond unfair. That's horrible. The poor child is left in a tug of war, so to speak, an emotional tug of war between two parents, and you know, and then you got the parents. You want to stay with your daddy? You want to stay with your mom? You want to stay? Cut it out, man. Y'all need to figure this thing out. Y'all need to figure this thing out. It wasn't that complicated. You got up in the sack. Don't make it that complicated now. I mean, and I know that's easier said than done, but that's the mindset we have to have. I'm not going to make this complicated for the sake of my child. I'm not going to make this difficult for the sake of our children. I'm not going to go there for the sake of our child. I can't stand your behind, but I love our child, and we are going to take care of our child. And there are some extenuating circumstances, and where, you know, you can't be in a situation, whether it be physical, verbal, emotional abuse, sometimes even financial abuse. There's some extenuating circumstances. Yes, I say to you this: there's three things you can do. You can change your situation. Okay, when I say change the situation, might be kind of hard for you to do because the only person you can control is yourself. You may not be able to control the other person, so you may not be able to change the situation. Or two, you can stay in the situation and just deal with the repercussions of you staying in the situation. In an abusive situation, I'm real leery on that. Like I said, I grew up watching mom being abused all the time. I honestly, I wish she would have left sooner, you know. Or three, you can leave. You can leave the situation. Hit the road and do what you got to do. And I know people don't want to hear me say that because, oh, God hates divorce, this, that, there, but God don't want you getting beat upside the head either, like some punching bag.
That's good. That's good. Curtis, what's on your heart right now, Curtis? We covered a lot today, man, and the focus, I think, need to be on directly on those children, directly on the children. Nothing else should matter. Nothing else, you know, personal feelings, emotions, thoughts, what they did to you, what they didn't do to you, or what they did for you, or whatever. None of that should matter. What should matter at the end of the day, the children. Curtis, what do you say to that? What do you want people to take away from this conversation?
Well, at the end of the day, it's like you said, that's the only thing that matters is the children, because they haven't had a chance to live a life yet. See, you don't have the chance to live a life, and for whatever reason, whatever season, it didn't work out as you drew it out in your mind. The children ain't lived yet. You know what I mean? And we have to be mindful that we can't keep asking our children to make adult decisions, but then telling them to stay in a child's place. They don't know how to make adult decisions yet. One of the things that I find, and we done covered a lot, but I wish one of my constituents was on here. But I don't know. You know what, Sandra would know what I'm talking about. A couple other people in here would know what I'm talking about. We have to be real mindful of they call it re-traumatization, because sometimes we can go through trauma, right? And in trauma-informed care, there's a part of that whole module that lets you know about re-traumatization, meaning not only as providers, as service providers, mental health service providers, but even us as those that's getting some mental health assistance. We have to be able to recognize, there's some folks that say notice the triggers, but we also have to recognize what those triggers may cause. And sometimes we can re-traumatize ourselves because we're stuck in what did happen or what could happen. And it kind of, sometimes it can create isolation where people just isolate themselves off from everybody else. It can cause any number of things. It can cause physical abuse. It can cause emotional abuse. It can cause verbal abuse. But sometimes we have to be wary and have that discussion about what re-traumatization is and how it plays out. Maybe that's for another show. But I just wanted to throw that out there. But to all the sisters that's going through what they're going through on behalf of men, let me be the first one to say, we apologize.
Absolutely.
We apologize.
Absolutely.
We ain't doing it right.
Well, let's say it like this. Let's say it like this, Curtis. We as men apologize for the grown boys that's not standing up being men.
Can I get some reparations behind that?
I'm going to mute you. I'm going to mute you. Lord Jesus. Cassandra.
Yes.
What's on your heart right now, Cassandra? We've covered a lot, and we're really talking about Mama, where's Daddy? That should be word, I think, and you correct me if I'm wrong. Those are words that should never cross a child's lips.
No, it shouldn't. But just in the reality of the times that we live in with a lot, and I put this on women right here. You just giving yourself to whoever just to have somebody. You know what I'm saying? So don't get mad when you say he's a dog, but you laid down and got to sleep. Come on. I mean, we have to do better. And then children and then the children end up being scarred. And I just wanted to say this because while someone real quickly, there's a pattern sometimes that develops because of the choices that we make as women. My mother was in an abusive marriage, and we had to see her get beaten almost every weekend. Friday, we know it was on and popping, and we'd have to end up going to our grandmother, being escorted by the police to our grandmother's house. And then that damaged me. And when I started getting into relationships, I didn't have enough self-esteem. I felt like a man was supposed to almost, be like that because that's all I saw.
Mm-hmm.
That caused me to be susceptible. Come on now, I'm just saying, we can cause injury to our children generationally because of the bad decisions that we make. And women, we make too many bad decisions.
Mm-hmm. Good deal. That's good. El, what's on your heart, brother?
I will say this. I kind of thought about it earlier, and I'm thinking about it again because I know we're coming to the end of the broadcast. There are some men that are out there that want to be father figures, whether you got remarried or married this man, he's taking responsibility for your kids. I will say this to the ladies: let him be the father figure. Particularly with a male seed, let him raise that young boy to become a man. A lot of times, I've seen through counseling I've done where the women say, I don't want him talking about, he don't need to correct my child. I know that's my husband, but I got him. Hold on now. Now, mama, and I say this, it goes both ways. Mama, you can raise a boy, but you can't raise no man. You can't raise no man. And if you got a man that wants to be there to help your boy mature and go into maturation to become a man, to help him understand the concept of putting away childish things so that he can grow up and go into society as a man, let that man be that for you. Don't shut that thing down all the time because you don't like how it's coming off. As a man, sometimes we got to handle these young boys a certain way. And this is how we stop what we're talking about. This is how we stop some of the problem that the man or the father figure dad is trying to be there in the absence of another. Let him do it so we can make sure this young man does not grow up to be something like his father was. And so let these guys do what they're trying to do. And I've seen it happen all too much, even in my situation now. And thank God, we 2.5 years of marriage and got remarried. And I said, hey, hold on now. I love these kids like they're my own. And every time I say something to the young boy, you jump in and start. No, I got it. Hold now. Listen, he's doing something you don't even see because you don't understand how a boy thinks. You don't understand that. So let me deal with this. And so we've gotten past that hump, praise God. But now she's like, okay, I see. Well, I'm gonna let you handle him. Let you go talk to him. Let that male figure do that, man. And for the women, and men sometimes vice versa. We're not talking about it today. If you got remarried and there's a woman in your life and you have a daughter and she let that woman in love help your little girl become a woman. And there's certain roles. There's certain things that we can teach you other gender specific that will change our lives and our generations to come.
Mm-hmm. Good deal. Now, let me see where I'm gonna go with this. Bishop, how does a lady, how would a young lady, and maybe I should address this to one of the young ladies, and I'll come back to one of them after this. But how does a young lady that's had to endure for all this time by herself? Now, the guy that came along and they made the baby together, he's gone. Now the child is 6, 7, 8, maybe even a young teenager. And then another man coming to her life. How does she know, like El just said, how does she know when to take those gloves off, step back, and allow him to be the man in that household? How does she know when and it is the right time for her to do that?
Raheem, I'm going to deflect that statement because I couldn't answer that as a man.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'd be best if it came from a woman to be able to answer that.
Yes.
So I'm going to pass it off to our pastor.
Okay. The third pastor, you mean?
Yes.
Y'all so wrong. But anyway, this is the important thing for women to do when they're bringing a man other than the child's father into the house. First, you have to make sure, well, we know the God connection, so y'all, let's not be too deep.
Mm-hmm.
We know we need to have somebody that's godly, a godly man, okay? So, but once you need to watch that man, how he interacts with the child. And if you see something that you feel like, okay, maybe that's a little bit too much because you know your child better than he does, then you and him have a conversation and you figure out what is going to be the parenting style that you guys are going to use. What model, how are we going to tailor to these children to make sure that everybody can blend together comfortably? And it's not easy, especially if you're dealing with tweens and teens. OMG. Tweens and teens, they stuck already in their ways and they ain't even lived yet. But so you have to observe how that man interacts with your child. If you see a problem, you sit and you talk to him about it and y'all work it out. But you should never do it in front of like you don't talk to my child like that. You never do that. That needs to be you because that gives the child fuel when he wants to or she wants to disrespect that man. So you have to set guidelines.
Bishop,
can I say something next?
Yeah, give me 1 second. I'm gonna come right back to you here. Bishop, I'm gonna flip it on you. Then I'm gonna come back to you in this way, in this regard right here. You are and hypotheticals don't know how to get. You are the fellow. You're 23 years old, Bishop. You met this young lady. She got kids. You step in and you be there 2, 3, 4 years, and you're doing everything as a father, as the man of the household. One day, things don't go according to plan. And in the course of the conversation that you're having with this child, they look at you and say, you can't tell me nothing, no way, you ain't my daddy. What's next? What's next, Bishop?
When being a mature person, there's like, biologically I'm not, but I've been more of a father to you than anyone. And to be disrespected is not what I'm going to tolerate. I think what we can have is a very good relationship. And don't look at the fact that I'm not your biological father. Look at the fact that I'm that surrogate father that has stepped in to take on some of the roles and responsibilities that maybe you're not receiving. And by no means would I exclude your biological father. I can ask a question, where is he? Because I'm here for you. I'm here to help you. I'm here to train you. I'm here to help you be a better person. And that's where I would close it off with.
So basically, you're not gonna say all that chicken I've been feeding you all the years, boy. You better bring my chicken back here. Look here, bring me my chicken. All that chicken and steak and beans and corn I've been buying and feeding you. You gonna sit here and say that to me? You better bring. I want every piece of it back.
No, I wouldn't say that. Okay. It's ironic that you did throw that on me. But I did do that for one of my sister's sons. The father was out. And then he had the audacity. In fact, I bought him a car. I got him his first job. I did everything I could to help him, not bragging, no boasting. But then one day we got into a discussion. He said, "You ain't my dad." And I said, "Well, I know, but did you not appreciate all the other stuff I did?" And as he matured and got older, he said, "Uncle Greg did more for me than my own dad. He is just like me. He is more of a daddy to me than my own."
Exactly.
All I did was made a statement to bring him to think about what I've done for you. And I told him, you don't owe me nothing. Because everything I have done, I did it out of the kindness of my heart to help my sister who was in a situation. And without, you owe me, because you don't owe me nothing. But I did owe you because of the love of God that's in me. And the love of God constrains us to help those that are less fortunate in every aspect. Everybody says some great stuff. El said some stuff. Our dear sisters have said some stuff. And I appreciate what everybody has said. But the reality is, what we do and what we try to bring to the table, the enlightenment and the enrichment, is to help someone be better. It ain't trying to hurt nobody. It's just trying to help everybody.
Exactly. So, and I'm going to come to you, but I'm gonna go to El first. And so basically what you're saying, El, is you'll grab me, you'll try to shake that chicken out of it.
I'm joking, but my flesh might be saying up and it might be screaming, like, what you say? But no, and my first, when you asked Bishop that question, in my spirit, the first thing I said was, you're right. I'm not your daddy. I'm just a man that's seeing life trying to love you. And I will remind him of that. I do believe love conquers all things, and anything that I have done out of love up until that point that he has said that child has said that to me, they remember that. And so it's just a little small brief reminder, no, you're right. I'm not. We got that part, but I'm the one loving you, and we got that part too. So and with that being said, that would be my response.
Okay. Anna, what's on your heart right now?
All of you had some outstanding points. I also want to leave everybody with something to think about. A lot of the responsibility, and I'm not just going to say women or men, a lot of the responsibility is bared on that parent who does have custody of that child. Think about that as well. When, you know, you have something negative to say or whatever, that parent is held with all that responsibility, whether they find somebody, you know, to grow old with or not. So that is a lot of burden, and you only understand that if you're actually in that position. So as a mother or as a father, if you do walk away, the minimal that you can do is take financial responsibility for that child that you helped produce. I hope all of you guys have a wonderful week. Raheem, this has been an outstanding. I mean, I think one show after the other has topped the one from the day before. Thank you for this amazing week, because it's been like really good. Like the comments, the messages I've had, you know, people just, it's something that really hits home. Maybe we should consider a part 2 to this.
Absolutely. We might have to do a Daddy Where's Mama, because there's
Daddy Where's Mama.
there's some situations where, you know, the mother has, you know, she's abandoned the family. She's for whatever reason, she decided that she didn't want to be there anymore. But Donna, what would you do, man? This young child come up to you a couple of years in the game and say, "Well, you're not my daddy." No, I'd like to handle that.
I'm not. You're right. But I'm still going to try to help you as best I can.
Yeah.
That's all I can do. As much as you allow me to. You know, and one thing, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to let somebody talk. Because I know we passed that. And another thing is that when you have a spouse that has a baby's dad, the worst thing the man or the woman can do is get involved in the bad mouth of the other parent. Let that go.
Yeah.
Leave it alone. Because you just add fuel to the fire.
Exactly. Well, listen, y'all, I'm looking at the clock, man, and we
you forget about me.
I ain't forget about Sherry. You on there trying to sing and all kind of things and all. Man, I ain't forget about you. I forget when you trying to do all that doggone singing. No, I forget that.
That be the spirit. That be the spirit. I gotta let them lead me. But I have an issue, a small issue. I just wanted to bring to the table.
Sherry, hold on now, Sherry. Before you do that, you know what time for us to go now. Don't you bring out that we gotta talk.
I know, but I was supposed to talk before everybody else. Don't do me like that, cuz. But look, the thing that was talking about when you introduce a person to your kids, that's the issue. And then letting them be, if they're going to be in your life, allowing them to be a father figure, that's the issue I have, because my husband was a lazy father. And I don't know how, when that opportunity arises and comes, I don't know how to deal with that. I guess I'll just take it, you know, I'll deal with that when it comes, whenever that may be. But I don't know how to approach that situation, because I mean,
let me say this to you, Sherry. Let me say this to you, and I don't mean to cut you off, but you know, it's almost 10 o'clock. Got to get out of here too. But my thing is this what I want you to do. Start today. Start today, praying over that situation. Pray that God gives you the wisdom, knowledge, and courage to walk in that thing with the authority that He's going to give you, to make sure that you make the right decisions. Can't nobody say when it's going to happen. We know eventually it will happen. That he's coming. But when He do, if you start praying today, Don't wait till tomorrow, or don't wait till it happens and say, well, you know, He's here. No. You start praying today, that God give you what it is that you need. Tell Him to give you the strength, wisdom, understanding, and courage to do what it is that you have to do when that person does come, because he's coming. But you
And we're praying with her.
Yeah, yes. Now where that voice come from?
Huh?
Where the other voice come from?
I can't hear.
You can't hear?
She said whatever. He said where that voice come from.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's just that I just felt that, you know, I love praying for people alone. I don't like being put on air to pray, but I'm praying with you.
Well, that's good. You'll pray us out today.
Ooh.
That's good. You'll pray us out today.
Sherry said she wanted to pray.
Well,
I'll pray. You ready?
No. First I gotta go. Cassandra, you still there? Cassandra, you still there?
Yes, y'all interfering with me making my liver and onions. So now, what now? I'm sorry.
Tell me what's going on at 3 o'clock today.
At 3 o'clock, if you missed the show, this wonderful show in its entirety,
There you go.
you can hear it again at 3 o'clock on DKM Radio.
Good deal.
Is that right?
You did. Excellent. Now, young lady, Anna, yes, pray us out.
Thank you, Heavenly Father, for letting us come together and just our different perspectives, getting everyone to understand that maybe there is a situation that's actually going on in many of our lives, or somebody we know. We air in 58 different countries and across the nation. Let it have it touched somebody, and maybe a difference been made for a child. Let's not even say a child, for hundreds of children's lives, to fix the next generation to come, because it's all about your glory and what you can do in all of our lives. We pray that this pandemic just clear out and just more people's lives get saved. We pray that you lay your hands over our children, over ourselves, and maybe our mentality and whatever it is that we're having mentally health-wise, to prevent our children from giving more of ourselves and just kind of being more mature than we should be, and not speaking so negative about that other parent, or making sure that they do have a relationship with that other parent, because we want change in their life. We pray that you bless us in every possible way, that you send those angels to come down from heaven and just protect each and every one of us, and that everything we do and touch for others is protected, and that we're able to help others and be a positive light in everyone's life. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Jesus is wonderful.
Sherry, let me mute Sherry line. Hold on, let me hit the mute button. There we go. Listen.
Jesus.
Sherry.
Love y'all.
Thank you, Sherry. Thank you. Listen, Anna done left on us. But listen, anybody have anything before we get out of here?
Jesus.
Sherry. Anybody have anything before we get out of here?
I love Sherry.
Okay. Well, we're going to get out of here. It is now 9:58. 9:58. We're going way over today. Had a little complication. Something happened with the line, but we kept it going. And what we're going to do today, normally we play out with the song, but we're going to play out. I'm going to play that poem, which is only about 1 minute and 2 seconds. I'm going to play that poem to get us out. Mama, Where's Daddy? Now, it is now 9:58. You're about to exit the Morning Glow. But before you go, I want you to do me 2 favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us, because we're certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number 2, right? This is real simple. I want you to go out there, find somebody, and give them a hug, because you never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. Now, we shine some of this light on you from the Morning Glow. Now take this light out there into this wicked and cruel world that we live in, and let your light shine. This is the poem that we're going to end with. I'm going to put the background on here, and we're going to go to the poem. The poem is a poem that was written out quite a few years ago. Hope you enjoyed. And no child should ever have to ask this question: Mama, where's Daddy? Enjoy yourself and love one another.
Mama, where's Daddy? Why is he never home? Why when I wake up in the morning, why is he always gone? I had a play at school last week. I looked out and he wasn't there. Please tell me the truth, Mama. Does Daddy still care? He told me I was his baby and that I should always believe that he will always be here for me. So, Mama, tell me, why did he leave? I know you two used to argue. I remember you used to fight. But in my prayers to
Do you have a
car, motorcycle, or boat that you like to have spiffed up?
Oh, we got the commercials trying to play for us. But listen, you all have a great day. Love you and love one another.